It's been an eventful week with a lot to talk about. And this morning, the key issues that are of concern to you, our viewers, in Ghana and across the world are the issues that we will focus on and sink our teeth into. Good morning. Welcome. This is Key Point. A former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, MASLOC, Sedina Christine Tamaklo Ationu, was convicted multiple counts of financial crime by the Accra High Court in 2014, landed in Ghana on Tuesday, June 9, 2026. As far as we do know now, she has been taken into custody. Her return comes at the time her lawyers have filed a comprehensive written submission before the Court of Appeal, Criminal Division, urging the appellate court to set aside her conviction and acquit her on all the charges for which she was actually convicted, and arguing that the prosecution failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, and that the charge sheet on which she was convicted is fundamentally defective. That's the development right now with Sedina Tamaklo Ationu, and the development regarding what will be the case in the coming days. The United States has indicated, and in fact through the Minister of Government Communications, Phyllis Kwachufosu, says this development paves the way for other extradition cases between the two countries. A number of you have been pointing to the former Finance Minister, Kenneth Nanaya Okonkwo of Foriata. We'll be finding out exactly how this development impacts on his return and the latest on his case and how things are playing out in the United States. Stay with us, we'll get into it. Also, the Ashanti Regional Chair of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Ntwibwesiako, is popularly known as Chairman Wontumi. He has initiated a plea deal process with the Attorney General in the criminal case in which he and two others have been accused of defrauding the Ghana Exim, that's the Export and Import Bank, that's Exim Bank, of some 14.3 million Ghana cedis. The Attorney General's office informed the High Court in Accra about Wontumi's application in a filing dated June 11, 2026. We have a copy of that filing stating that he had commenced steps towards a plea agreement or a plea deal. Well, based on the details of the filing as we have it, the request was made through Chairman Wontumi's lawyer, Andy Apiakubi. He is going to be joining us this morning. We'll get some details of why exactly they have resorted to plea deal and what outcome do they expect. The sentiments being expressed by some members in the MPP is that this is an indication of defeat, that they knew they were going to lose this case. That's why Andy Apiakubi has then entered into or applied for a plea agreement or a plea bargain with the state. Is that really the case? What was Andy Apiakubi seeing that we are not seeing? Reason why he has gone on this path with his client on the matter of the Ghana Exim Bank and Chairman Wontumi. Remember, Chairman Wontumi is standing trial for 3 cases. This Exim Bank one is one of the 3. Now, we'll have a conversation this morning when Andy Apiakubi joins me. You recall that right on that same day, he applied to, as it were, withdraw his services as lawyer for Chairman Wontumi regarding this Samuel Boy case. That's one of the three cases as well. Well, yesterday we got notice that the state is opposing Andy Apiakubi's motion to withdraw his services as lawyer for Chairman Wontumi. They said they want him to remain. We'll get into that this morning. So stay with us here on the Key Point. President John Dramani Mahama has directed all ministers of state, chief executive officers of state institutions, other political appointees to refrain from participating in and sponsoring, endorsing, attending, or accepting awards from organizations that are questionable unless expressly authorized by the office of the president. Well, this award scheme, the award ceremony that took place exactly a week ago, generated some backlash publicly regarding why this should be the case, and whether or not these recipients paid for these awards, especially because none other than the CEO of the State Interest Governance Authority, that authority that's supposed to also supervise and has superintendent authority over state-owned enterprises, some of whom CEOs were there at this award ceremony and received these awards. He came out to say that, well, he was approached and some monies were demanded of him. Well, is this matter of these awards, and this is not the first time we've seen this happen in this country, is it for self-aggrandizement, or in some cases the appointing authority looks at these awards, how many awards a particular appointee has won, to measure their performance? Well, Dr. Callistus Mahama issued a statement later that day indicating the criteria that will be used to assess CEOs, ministers, because there's something in the works. Said, could be realignment and reshuffling. We'll have a conversation on this matter this morning. As always, there's a development on the sports front. Before we went to bed yesterday, we got to know that our midfielder par excellence, Thomas Partey, has been denied visa by the Canadian immigration. I spoke exclusively to the sports minister, Kofi Idi Adams, last night on Ghana Tonight, but he's going to be joining us this morning as well to give us the latest on this particular one ahead of that Wednesday clash with Panama. We have resorted to fighting this development, according to the sports minister. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, has officially written to the Canadian authorities regarding this development. We'll have a conversation on it. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. This is Key Point. We're live on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London, Voice of London television, as well as on 3FM 92.7, Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale, on a number of radio stations across the country. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. My guests will be taking their seats after this. The conversation starts right now. Welcome.
Yes, had it here. Delayed.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
Welcome back. And this is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're also on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London, Voice of London television as well. There's a number of radio stations across the country. There's so many ways you can join us always. Key Point is proudly brought to you by GASEM, the nation builder. GASEM has since its inception produced more than 35 million tons of cement. GASEM wants to continue to be Ghana's biggest cement manufacturer and supply the market with good quality cement and also at a reasonable price. We have varieties that suit all building needs, including GASEM Super Strong, GASEM Super Rapid, GASEM Super Cool, GASEM Eco Cool. We have depots and sales outlets in all 16 regions of Ghana. GASEM, the nation builder. Also, it's brought to you by Bank of Africa. And I'm talking about the Key Point this morning. And if you're watching us here, activate your dormant account with the Bank of Africa. Enjoy our revised and refreshed products and services, including our enhanced SME support facility, US dollar debit and credit card, and more. You may also update your account at any Bank of Africa branch with your Ghana card. Give us a call on 0302 429 333 or 0302 496 690. That is Bank of Africa. They are as strong as a group, as close as a partner. Earlier in the week, a number of things happened involving this man. I'm talking about Bernard Antwi Boesiakon, Chairman Wontumi, and his lawyer, that's Andy Apiakobi, who is going to be joining us shortly. Applied for a plea deal with the state regarding the specific case of this one, the Exim Bank case. There are 3 cases that are active and running in court involving Chairman Wontumi. The Samurai Boy illegal mining case, we're expecting the court to deliver a judgment on the 3rd of July. I'm going to put that on the screen right now. That's just a couple of weeks ahead of us. Then there is the Tano Inimiri Forest Reserve case, which Chairman Wontumi is alleged to have mined in a forest reserve without permit. The investigator is currently under cross-examination. So that is where this case is, the stage at which this case is. But it is in respect of this 3rd case, where Chairman Wontumi is alleged to have fraudulently procured a 14.3 million Ghana cedis loan from the Ghana Exim Bank and caused financial loss to the bank to the tune of some 30 million Ghana cedis, which you see there. Now, there is that option amongst the lot in this plea deal that will result in him refunding this money, 30 million Ghana cedis. But there are a number of things that could possibly come out of this plea deal that Chairman Wontumi is seeking through his lawyers with the state regarding this Exim Bank case. In fact, well, with the politics of things as well playing out, those who are watching within the MPP will say, well, with this particular decision by Chairman Wontumi alone, it's a signal that, his lawyers, and we'll find out from them whether they were seeing defeat in this particular case, reason why, they went for a plea deal, or it was a strategic legal decision taking into consideration these other 2 that Chairman Wontumi is involved in. There are those also, on the other side, who are saying the state should not accept any plea deal. If he has to, go to jail or serve some jail time, he should do that. Well, look, whatever the case might be, it is the courts that will decide. So we'll see how things play out. But this is a matter that we'll get into, including what the state is saying regarding and Diapia Kube's decision to withdraw his services as for Chairman Wontumi in this specific case of the Samuel Boy case. Well, the state says no, they don't agree. He should still stay. We'll get into all of that this morning. But joining us in the studio is Richard Ahiagba, who is currently the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party and also aspiring first National Vice Chair of the New Patriotic Party. Says he's incoming. There's no contender for that matter. Richard Ahiagba, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you, Alfred.
How's campaign going?
We can't have peace to campaign because the NDC is bent on not governing well. But,
you can't have peace to campaign because the NDC is not
governing well.
What do you mean?
I've had to come back to Accra from some consultations that I was doing in the region to try and make sense of what the NDC is doing with Madam Sedina Tamakulu's conviction. After they have promised that they would give us oral, which oral includes everybody, not just their political opponents, but somehow they don't seem to understand that they too are part of this state and their actions and inactions, be it corruption and otherwise, affect the welfare of the state. And citizens are concerned about that. So otherwise, campaign should be fine. And you know what's happening in our party. We have come a long way with our reorganization process. We just finished our electoral area coordinators elections, and perhaps all things being equal, in July, we're going to conclude the elections for our constituency executive. So gradually it's getting to the point where our campaign will heat up. After we do the regional elections, then it will be the national elections. And so campaign so far is good. Nothing aggressive yet, just consultations across board.
Consultations.
Yes. And,
so you are confident you are winning first vice chair of the
well,
NPP?
Certainly it's necessary. And I think that with the work we have done and the commitment that we have shown and the passion to do more, I think that would result in victory in September when the elections are done. So I am confident. But what I'm not confident about is how the NDC is governing. And that inspires me to do all I can to win this election so we can give the NDC a run for their money in 2028.
Well, Godwin Edudzi-Tamaklo has been seated next to you. He has a smile on his face. I don't know what the meaning of that it really is, but he's a man who owns his actions. So he's here. He's the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, a private legal practitioner as well. Good morning to you, Mr. Tamaklo.
Good morning, my good brother Fred, and good morning to the religious members of Key Point.
Absolutely.
Their Saturdays are incomplete without the benefit of Key Point.
True.
And to them, we salute them. And I just want to say a good morning to my brother, Richard Ahiagba. I'm happy that he's moved from the appointed position to put up a strong fight to be elected. I strongly believe that the NPP must shed its, leopard skin and appear to be national in outlook. By so doing, I think that they must move forward in having somebody from the Volta region within the core national leadership of the NPP. You know, for the NDC, it is not difficult for us to be representative in terms of tribal, ethnic, religious, among others. The NPP has over the period struggled, as it were, to properly have representation that is national, in terms of outlook. And I strongly believe that Richard Ahiagba is somebody who has served the NPP well. He's advocated for them. sometimes I wonder the nature of his advocacy and why he advocates the manner he does. But again, that's a political tradition that he belongs to, and he is constitutionally enjoined to advocate anything that he wants. And so I strongly believe that having put himself up for this electable position, he will bring something useful to the leadership of the MPP in terms of its national leadership. Over the period, the party has struggled to have that strong voter representation in terms of its national leadership.
True.
Currently, is there any of your national officers who is from the voter region? If you can help me.
Not currently. I think.
I mean, so clearly, what I'm saying is extremely founded. I just wanted this response just to show that my claims are not unfounded.
Yeah.
They are foundational basis on which I make this submission.
True.
And so I believe that the delegates of the MPP must think Ghana, must think national, not tribal, not ethnicity, and possibly have somebody like Richard Ahiagba elevated to that national decision. So that at least in terms of, you remember there was a time when a whole budget was read and the whole voter region was not in, and it has to take a certain intervention.
Yeah.
Imagine if you have a national vice chair
Okay.
from that part of our country. I'm sure he would have made a claim for that region. But that said, today happens to be the birthday of a very good brother of mine, Eric Ejay, the CEO of NEIP. He's a husband material as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a husband
He's on the market.
yeah, he's on the market. So that said, Eric,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
He's one of our very strong
Good guy,
communicators,
good guy.
very strong communicators, and a lawyer as that. So, I mean, that would be the base of my preliminary comment this morning.
Right on. Thank you. Let me say it's a rainy morning, and so we are monitoring what could possibly be the flash floods as a result of what we're already experiencing this morning as well. So, Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner. He is a member of the oral preparatory team. He's joining us from somewhere in the world on Zoom. Lawyer, good morning.
So we are monitoring what could possibly be the flash.
Counsel, if you could listen to me on the Zoom. I think you are watching. Yeah, but yeah. Can you hear me?
The oral preparatory. He is joining us from somewhere in the world on Zoom.
Morning, Mr. Counsel. Good. Can you hear me?
If you could listen to me on the Zoom, I think you are watching.
Right.
Yeah, but
So he'll rectify that sound connection.
Let me see.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Lawyer Martin Pebo is it's out of the jurisdiction. So, but he's joining us on Zoom right now. Counsel, can you hear me now?
if you could listen to me on the Zoom, you
Yeah.
are watching.
Okay. We'll try to rectify that. But Counsel, can you hear me?
Lawyer Martin Pebo. It's out of the jurisdiction. So
Unfortunately, we would try and rectify that connection. Hello? Yes, I know that you are also watching online as well, but we'll rectify that connection to you.
Yes, I can. So I'm closing it. I'll rejoin in a minute.
Perfect. Okay, great. So let's rectify that. Martin Pebo is going to be joining us in a minute. As I did indicate to you as well, Kofi Bento is a private legal practitioner, is going to be joining us, and the Apiakobi will be joining us, as well as Professor Ransford Jampo would also be joining us. But this week, something happened regarding Sedina Tamaklo at Yonu. It's been a long wait for her return. This former chief executive officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Sedina Tamaklo, Christine Ationu, convicted on multiple counts of financial crime by the Accra High Court, landed in Ghana Tuesday, June 9, and has, from what we got to know, been taken into custody. Her return is coming at a time when her lawyers are already challenging her conviction. But this is the information that the minister in charge of government communications put out on Tuesday. This is it. Officials of the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Prison Service have taken her into custody and are making the necessary preparations for her to begin her sentence. Meanwhile, the Attorney General is scheduled to meet his counterparts at the United States Department of Justice for a bilateral discussion on all pending extradition requests between the two countries. That is what is going to be the next phase of what has happened regarding Sedina Tamaklo Ationu. But her arrival has also influenced some conversation as to what is going to be happening next, taking into consideration this particular statement from the Minister in charge of Government Communications, specific to Ken Ofori-Atta. But let's see if the connection to Martin Kpebu is rectified now. But as we do it very quickly, Prof. Saransford Jampo is joining us as well, CEO of Ghana Shippers Authority. Prof, good morning. Welcome.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for having me, Alfred. Two things. I've been riding motorbike all my life, from 1998 up to now. I've always had a motorbike. I want to advise the Okada riders. I've been late because a vehicle had knocked down an Okada rider, on the Tetekwashi Road, and it was so sad. My advice to them is that it appears Okada is becoming part of our means of transport. And all of us, when we are running late into meetings, you want to hop behind one of them. They should be very careful in the way and manner they ride. Some of them, they ride recklessly. And they don't, it appears, they don't even care about their own lives. Okay, meandering through traffics and all that, breaking people's mirrors, side mirrors, driving mirrors, and running away, and doing all manner of things that shows a certain recklessness. Please, you are doing this as a source of livelihood.
Right.
Some of them, they have wives. Some of them, they have children. And so we plead with them that as they ride, they should be careful so that it doesn't look like you just okay, you just making a living for yourself, for your wife and your children, and then you go and you involve yourself in an unnecessary, misfortune that could have been avoided. I think that it's a caution and advice. You are pleading with them. They are part of us, and they should be careful in the way they ride their bike so that they don't show much recklessness that endangers their life. But greetings to my shippers. Please allow me to greet them as you would do to Martin Kpebu. I'm sure you'll be here. We'll greet everybody in the world.
No, Prof, you do it quickly.
All right.
Quickly.
So, greeting to my shippers. As you may be aware, in our quest to protect your interest by regulating the industry and charges, we have been hit by several frustrating and thwarting maneuverings, including lawsuits. But fortunately, we are not timorous souls. We will defend our mandates forcefully as it relates to protecting your interests and as it fits into President Mahama's vision of reducing the cost of doing business in Ghana. Shipping lines have the right to make profits, and we would protect this motivation of theirs. But at the same time, we exist to regulate how they make their profits in a manner that ensures that international trade goes on smoothly, such that shippers, business people, and traders will not pay huge charges, which will eventually be transferred to the ordinary Ghanaian. Only our enabling act, Act 1122, shall dictate to us how we go about our mandate. And anyone who thinks filing a legal suit intimidates us would merely be romancing a stone. We commend those shipping lines who are so far complying with our regulatory directives. But dear shippers, if any shipping line is defying our directives, we are monitoring. But you, don't hide and be gossiping about it. We would encourage you to make formal complaints to us so that we can investigate and apply the appropriate sanctions as prescribed by our law.
Thank you very
much.
Now,
Bring him a bill. Kindly bring him a bill.
Of shippers.
Some of these things.
Cost of shipping.
Let's move
Bring
on.
him a
Let's
bill.
move on.
Bring him a bill.
Let me bring in Martin Pebo. Is it
Bring him
rectified
a
now?
bill.
Council,
We are fighting for Mother Ghana. You say you should bring me a bill.
Council, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Kansi.
Right.
Hey, let me also greet my usual people in 30 seconds. Osia dear you at the Mambedu the second Domahini. Thank you. So for Kufu Yasantua, thank you for speaking up, even though you were cousin to Ekufuado. You didn't think about your stomach alone. You stood up for Ghanaians. Togbe Apede and then Gaman checking Taki Teku through the second. Valiant men. I see I've left out some of the chiefs. Now I'm seeing that Nana Ansako of Joy FM and this is the other many chiefs. In due time, I'll revise the list because they've done really, really good. Of course, our men above 40, please, the prostate check. And stop peeing by the roadside, stop peeing outside. Find empty bottles to pee into, all right? If there's no washroom.
It's very important, and I thank you very much. And this has been endorsed by the Ghana Health Service, by the way. So I think that is. But I thank you. Indeed, thank you very much, Martin Pebo. But Richard, but you were saying that this development this week is one that doesn't in any way excite you regarding the fight against corruption and oral. You, when I recall, when this matter of Kenneth Ofori-Atta, whether to return or not, came up, you pointed fingers at Sedina as well, that the NDC wants to bring Kenneth Ofori-Atta to stand trial. Then Sedina Tamaklo Christine Ationu should also come.
Yeah.
She's in the jurisdiction now. And you said that it doesn't in any way add anything to the fight against corruption. Why is that?
Well, so if you're looking at just presence here in the country, that is good, but it's a process that the NDC knows nothing about. They probably at best just shepherded it because the process was commenced under the New Patriotic Party, where the application or the request was made for extradition in July 2024. And by August 2024, there was confirmation to the Attorney General at the time under the New Patriotic Party, Godfred Dame and his deputies, that the authorities in the United States have established contact, not contact per se to the extent that she knows about it, but they have established where she stays and they know where she is and are monitoring her movement such that she won't leave the country. I mean, these are processes that started on the New Patriotic Party. So it's just culminating in NDC's era that they're in government. So the process to bring her back had started. And I'll be happy if my brother Laduji can show us proof that the NDC did anything apart from what the NPP did to bring her.
You commenced the process to bring her.
Yes. So that process was triggered, confirmation was made that she was found and was being monitored, and it was just a matter of time that she would come. So that's settled, that we brought it. Now,
so I just want to establish this. After her conviction, Godfred Dame and the NPP commenced the process to bring her
for extradition.
For extradition.
Yeah.
And that process continued even
as of August, sometime 2024, confirmation was given to the authorities in Ghana that they've found out where she stays. She's been monitored, and so therefore, just a matter of time when the United States, Department of Justice completes its process, and then she would come to Ghana. But the question you ask, Alfred, I think that much of this issue is about democracy. It's about the trust of the people in government. And you know, Alfred, that democracy is about the people. Government democracy is about the people. And so people in a democracy vote not merely for candidates or personalities, but often they vote based on promises that are made to them. And so when these promises are broken, it weakens confidence in democracy. Okay. And Prof here knows about that, that it is true empirically, because I recall reviewing a study you did in 2013, I think with Prof. Deborah, on voter choice, where they found that, contrary to conventional wisdom, that African voters vote based on ethnicity, clientelism, and other non-rational stuff. The youth of Ghana actually vote based on issue. They vote based on rational promises made to them, and they expect those promises to be delivered.
I see.
Now, the NDC, in its manifesto, 2024 manifesto, I think under Chapter 6, made a promise of good governance and to fight corruption. And in that, the lead, a flagship initiative or flagship promise of oral was given. And oral is all-encompassing. Oral says what? There's an operation to recover all loot.
Yes.
That loot, there was no caveat, there was no definition, there was no limitation of what loot they wanted. So all loot. And so there is that expectation that when the NDC comes to power, they will actually live to that promise that they made to Ghanaian people on the basis of which they voted for them. But you see, when they came, what happened?
What happened with respect to this particular one? Because I started by questioning what you mentioned.
I will answer that.
Yes.
The issue is cannot be segregated. It's a question of promise that was made to fight corruption. And this is a corruption matter, isn't it? So, but the NDC came to office, and what they have done from day one is to shield their people.
What is the
I'm coming. Yes, I'll get to that. Your intro earlier talked about the efforts that are being made about filing appeal and all the things that have started already, right?
Yes.
And so it's indicative of a certain effort to shield people who are NDC people and to persecute other people. Now, you agree, when they came in, perhaps you remember, but I think you disagree. When you promise to fight oral, and you come into office and there are cases of corruption that are being litigated in the courts, what you do is to continue that, to demonstrate confidence in the promise you have made. And that's why I was careful to say to you that people vote based on promises. And Prof has found that indeed it is the case that people vote based on promises in Ghana. So when people have voted that you're going to do oral, and you come, and your first order of business is to clear your people, it sets a question mark. And in this particular case, so the nolle prosequi that was issued in about 7 cases, and out of those 7 cases, about 4 of those cases, including the Opuni case, the state had closed its case. And it's just a question of just pursuing and seeing that at least there was not much work needed to be done, at least in those 4 cases. The state ought to simply, I'm coming to that.
Right.
We need to establish a certain pattern of behavior
I'm
so that we
looking at
don't jump to this and then look as if we're just talking about one instance. It is a connected series of events which shows a certain selective application in the fight against corruption.
I'm looking at the time.
Although it's fine. I mean, if all I can say is, if all I can say is to establish a trend for you, if I come again, I'll continue. But it is important to establish that trend, so that they are shielding their people, and that weaves into this. The co-accused person in this Madame Seridam Tamaklos case, that person applied for bail and has been granted bail, and is sitting at home. You remember Ato Essien in the banking sector issue?
Yes.
Jailed under MPP. That guy has been bailed. He's sitting somewhere.
But
now the connection. Just wait. Let me establish the connection.
When
for
you are bringing these things, then you get me to ask questions.
No problem. But I'm saying that
with respect to
you
the
won't have to
Atuasian
ask me
case, you are bringing so many other things,
you won't have
which
to ask
actually
me
doesn't
questions.
reflect the Atuasian case.
Because this is not an isolated case. I'm establishing a pattern of behavior that goes against why people voted for the NDC to fight corruption. Now they have come. People in their corner, they are shielding those from corruption.
You wanted
her
back in Ghana. She's back in
No,
Ghana.
you are not following.
Then what's the issue regarding her return and why you think she's being shielded? I want to understand that.
The point is that, and I made a point to you that we started a process to bring her back. The NDC didn't bring her back. So they are not even interested in prosecuting or seeing her to,
But the current Attorney General was quite clear that he had initiated the process of her extradition as well.
I just challenge you, maybe you can call him, to show us evidence of letters that he has written to that effect. The process to bring her back was started under the New Patriotic Party. That's one is factual. If you tell us, if you give us contrary evidence. Now, the reason I am going through this to establish a pattern for you is that the NDC is not interested in fighting corruption. Which then draws me to this, and I just told you the co-accused person in this very case that Sedinam has been brought back for has been granted bail when he should be in jail. The person is in a home. And so when you see what is happening in Sedinam's case, the application for appeal and all of that, when you have been convicted in 2024 and you are aware of it, you didn't come to this country voluntarily. You were having to have been extradited by force to come back. And then suddenly when you showed up, as if you just discovered that you've been convicted in absentia and you're applying for appeal. And of course, there is evidence suggesting that even before she came to Ghana, through her lawyer, she made move to file this appeal. Before she came to Ghana, when she was still a fugitive from justice, she was sitting in America and starting the process of appeal. So what you are seeing here is that an NDC government that is not interested, okay, in fighting corruption. And in this particular case, since you want to talk about this, is that it's not going from what we are seeing and the pattern that I've established to you, protecting NDC people and persecuting political opponents. This matter here is going to just be one of those things. They'll be tossing and going up and down, and she will just be let off the hook. And now the danger, Alfred, in that is that it breaks confidence in the system. It undermines the NDC's own promise to fight corruption, which is why I premised for you that people voted for a reason. And so when you say you are going to recover all loots, and there are loots to be recovered, and you are selecting which loots to recover and to pursue, you are clearing the balance of them, okay? And then you are investing in all sorts of maneuvers to make sure your people don't answer for their crime. You are weakening confidence in the ballot. And you know, Alfred, the ballot is an instrument of hope. That people vote because based on those promises, they think that the promises that are being made to them today will improve their lives tomorrow. And so they vote. Now, if by virtue of that confidence, people have voted, and then you have come and you're abusing that to shield your people, to protect corruption in the case of your people,
but
are persecuting
you know that
people,
upon her return, she's in custody as we speak. You know that?
Yes, I know.
I see.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer any question. I have just told you that a fugitive from justice refused to come, sitting somewhere, applying for an appeal, and has shown up. And what we are hearing is that she's going to give an appeal, and which is the reason I established this for you, that a co-accused
which is well within her right.
But I'm saying that she should, within her right to the extent that she's run away from accountability. If she wanted to exercise that right, she should have stayed here for the trial.
Okay.
But she left. And the point I'm telling you, Alfred, let this not be lost on your viewers, to say that it is important to establish a pattern of behavior. And the pattern of behavior we have seen for the NDC is that in the fight against corruption, their objective is to shield their people, protect corruption in the case of NDC people and persecute their political opponents. And I've shown you that in the case of the nollie prosequis that were issued, in the case of Madam Sedinam Tamaklo's co-accused person who has been let off the hook on bail that is sitting at home,
if
and
the person
she
has been
herself,
granted bail,
who has come now, sorry?
If the person has been granted bail, doesn't amount to being left off the hook, and I'm sure you know this.
But
essentially, I mean,
but I'm saying that it's a technique, it's a process.
The bill
It's
is
a
not.
But it's not here. So
hold on.
So
I'm not arguing with you. I'm only saying to you that the bill doesn't amount to an acquittal and discharge. They're two different things.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
You've been left off the hook.
I'm not saying that. But the point is that the person is supposed to be in jail. Okay, he's supposed to be in jail. The person is convicted, supposed to be in jail, is given bail, is sitting at home. And you yourself, in the context of this conversation, that's why context is very important. Since the NDC came, people who have not been charged, people who have not been convicted, have been locked away on some unreasonable bail conditions. And they are as though convicted because they can't meet those very high bail conditions.
Okay.
So that two standard that you're seeing, that for some people who are not even charged or accused or convicted of any crime, they are thrown in jail or in prison for simply not meeting bail conditions. But people who are convicted are given very lenient bail conditions and they are sitting at home. And those people are NDC people. So you see categories of two people. One, very extreme bail conditions, forced to stay locked up because they cannot meet those difficult bail or high bail conditions. But people who are convicted and supposed to be serving their sentences are given bail conditions lenient enough that instead of serving their sentences, they are sitting at home pending their appeal. I think that that's the same thing that's going to happen.
You already you're predicting what the possible outcome will be, which you've established
that's why I've established the pattern for you, that this will not be any different. It will be the same.
So there's no confidence that anything will come out
Absolutely.
of this. This is what,
but see, there's a danger that all of us must be careful and pursue this and ensure that if it doesn't happen in this case, then really there's no confidence in the system.
Okay,
at all.
There are a number of things that you have brought into your submission, trying to separate the issues so that we deal with it one after the other. But let me bring Lamartin Gbegbo, and I'll come to you, Coordinator Tamaklo. Lamartin Gbegbo on this. This is one that, when it happened on Tuesday, many, including yourself, who indicated that if the NDC was seeking to bring back Kenneth Ofori-Atta, there had to be also Sedinam Tamaklo coming back. Richard Ahiagba says it has happened, but there's no confidence that really this has done anything to the fight against corruption and ORA, because he can foresee what would be the possible outcome of Sedinam Tamaklo. What's your take on this?
Oh, okay. So my first take is that I thought Ahiagba would have started on the note that MPP as a party, they are massing up courage, okay, to be able to ask Ofori-Atta to calm down, because as a corporate entity, MPP as a party, I'm sure it's not lost on them that if they really want to come back to govern this country again, then they have to, issue a statement asking Ofori-Atta to come. And the way they've been deterring and not showing that clarity of thought, they should know that it means that they are dampening and eroding their own chances, because something as simple as saying Ofori-Atta, calm down, they are not able to do, and they are waxing lyrical. As I just heard Ahiagba talking, I was like, Ahiagba is the wrong person to say the things he's saying. You see, he's the wrong person to say those things he's saying. He's the wrong messenger. The first thing he should have started was that MPP will ask Ofori-Atta to come, and it must be now. So the more they delay on this, then the more it justifies why we booted them out in the manner we did. I mean, look at this. Sedinam is a convicted felon, right? And as you rightly stated, we asked that she be brought down. She's been brought down is good. But to spend all the time on Sedinam when all the efforts right now should be on Ofori-Atta, beggars believe. Look, Mr. Okansi, it will never be wiped out that, look, Sedinam, the facts, yes, she may get bail, because right now, let's even come to this very salient part that I blame some people for not putting out early. do you see that the Ofori-Atta was the one who came to pay for the buses in 2018? Have you seen the appeal they filed? Have you seen it?
The appeal, yes.
Yeah, that Ofori-Atta, Ken Ofori-Atta, when he became finance minister, came to pay for the buses in 2018. So then the question is, the time we charged Sedinam, why didn't we charge Ofori-Atta? I was like, so what happened? Was there a cover-up? Edug is there. Maybe you can ask Edug to give us more on that side of the facts. So since I saw that part of it, I was like, oh, no wonder Sedina didn't want to calm down, because there's that angle. But they failed to, beat this in the media, let's be clear. So me, since I saw that part that Ofori-Atta played, that when he came into office, he didn't audit what Sedinam had ordered, but went ahead to pay, my thoughts on the case have changed. I'm going 180 degrees. So now I'm keeping a very open mind. It means that it's just that Sedina and her legal team didn't do the right thing by digesting the facts well. We often have volumes of material to digest before coming for this program. So sometimes certain things would escape us. But I'm telling you, Ms. Okanse, this morning that Ofori-Atta has surfaced again in the Sedinam case. That not even in 2017, where you say, because he just took office, maybe he hadn't had time to settle. In 2018, he paid for the buses Sedinam had ordered. Why? And Ofori-Atta is working, and then you see how it brings in my beef with Kissi Ejabin. That this is another case Ofori-Atta would have been answering for, but for Kissi Ejabin, allowing Ofori-Atta to flee from this country, right? So, Mr. Okanse, yes, if Sedinam applies for bail and then she gets it, of course, it will not be lost on anybody that Ghanaians would not let that go lightly. We will berate this in the judicial system. But that's how it is. Because that's a way of also holding the judicial system accountable. But that doesn't mean she shouldn't get bail. Yes, if there are medical conditions, etc., she will get bail. But we should all remember that Ghanaians don't easily forget. No. Ghanaians don't forget. They will take the justice system on. And in that manner, that's giving the justice system feedback. So in that manner, the system becomes stronger. So we think about ways to make the justice system better, ways of improving prison conditions, etc. Today, FPP people will complain about Sedinam likely to get bail. But they've forgotten that when Kofi Juma was taken in, Kofi Juma, former MD of GEHOG, he spent most of the time in Kolebu. He wasn't in custody. He spent most of the time in Kolebu that he's sick. So if today Sedinam has come in a wheelchair and may not spend much time in Sawam, etc., the point I'm making is that, so it tells you that we have to improve the prison system, the custodies in our police station, etc. That's the actual message. Yes, that's the other side of it. So
right. You talk about the fact that citizens will be watching how this Sedina Tamaklo case plays out, and how it plays out will determine how citizens react, right? What exactly would make citizens then begin to question the justice system, depending on how things play out regarding this Sedina Tamaklo case, now that she has returned?
Yes, so what's going to happen is that, as I'm beginning to understand, the judgment will come up for greater scrutiny, and it looks like, yes, the Sedina has a case. It's beginning to look like that. So you know that it will start with a lot of cynicism. People will say it's a cooked deal, etc. It's okay, because when I say it's okay, it means that let citizens express their opinions. So what it does is that it informs the justice system to also look and see that next time, what can the justice system do better? Because now with Ofori-Atta looming large in this Sedinam judgment, having paid for buses up to almost 2 years into office, when Sedinam wasn't in office, etc., then we'll be asking ourselves that, so where was the justice system itself looking when Sedinam was charged without Ofori-Atta being charged, etc.? So it's good. And even the citizens already reacting, I have gone ahead of the justice system. It means that they are telling the justice system that we are not taking this from you. We are not taking this from you. Next time, be up and doing. Because if you take Sedenam on, you leave out Ofori-Atta, that's not justice. That's one part of one section of our citizens. The other section of our citizens too will say that because Sedenam's party is in office, right, they are in government, things are being made easy for her. We can't run away from it. It's not only in Ghana. In many jurisdictions where I follow especially UK politics and the US, it happens. It happens. Look at the US, the Epstein files. The lady who, one of the victims, sought to, testify in a way that would favor Donald Trump. Quickly, when Attorney General Bondi was the lady, the Attorney General who just left office, quickly they moved her from the high security prison and gave her better prison conditions because she was going to testify in a way that will help President Donald Trump. Right. I'm not saying it's correct. So what I'm saying is that so elsewhere, the same thing we are doing in Ghana, people are doing in the US and the UK, where citizens are holding the justice system to account that, look, this is not proper justice. It is a sort of celebrity soft justice. Okay. And these things have been there decades. So the feedback helps to make our society better. So it's okay. It's welcome. Sedenam will get the bail, and then citizens who will continue making noise. And then the justice system will also learn from it. That, listen, when one party is in office, they will never stay forever. They would leave. And so if you're taking a decision today and you don't look beyond 8 years, tomorrow the justice system will come for a lot of blame. And so we will be wiser. That's how we are building a democracy. So let all the shades of opinion be heard. Because right. You see, me personally, because I hadn't understood, before I saw the Ofori-Atta angle, I started saying that personally, Sedenam should not be given a presidential pardon until she's done about 4 years. So it was after the interview, then I started seeing the judgment and the angles about Ofori-Atta paying for buses long after Sedenam had left. Then I said, oh, wow, wait a minute. How did we not bring this up? Why did we not start advocating about this side, etc.? So sometimes we make some positions out of ignorance, etc. It happens. But like many former leaders have said, it's better to make ignorant noises than to have a culture of silence, right? But the good thing is that when we realize our mistakes, then we correct them. So me, on Sedenam now, I'm open-minded and more interested in the Ofori-Atta angle. That's the part I want to see how the court of appeal.
Right. And you talk about what her legal counsel could have done at the time. And in fact, it is one of the issues captured in this particular challenge that her legal counsel is already filing regarding her conviction. One, that the charge sheet, which formed the basis of her conviction, was defective because of these developments that you have just referenced as well. And then also, and Lawyer Digital, I'll come to you on this. And two, none of the witnesses called helped prove the charge of stealing. And the prosecution failed to prove that she appropriated or misappropriated any monies for that matter. But Andy Appiah-Kupi is joined us. He's the man of the moment for this week. He is the lawyer for Chairman Wontumi, and a number of things happening around him. Andy Appiah-Kupi is former MP for Asante Achim North. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Running away, fugitive from defending Wontumi.
Right. Whatever you think.
Andy.
Yeah, just your opinion.
Andy.
Yes. But again,
we'll make sure you defend him.
Yes.
Get your legal fees now.
Let me defend him, please.
Country Ghana is growing. Country Ghana is growing. And I want us also to support the growth of our institutions. Okay. And indeed, I get worried when people import politics into all facets of human national life. I get worried. Particularly, I heard somebody say that Godfrey Dami was prosecuting somebody. No, it was the office of the Attorney General doing the prosecution. Whoever was there, it does not matter. And now the office is that which is doing prosecutions. So government is in a continuum. So let's look at national matters like that. One other thing that I wanted to comment on was allegations of corruption. Let us try to separate the acts that are tagged corruption and those that are tagged stealing. We cannot interweave the two and just get confused as to what charges we are preparing. Again, now bail.
Hold on to that point. Hold on to that bail point. And let me bring in.
You were only doing preliminary remarks.
Yes. Sorry.
So I have
no. I know where you are going with this. On this. They are already.
To ensure that
the expectation is that this is just
slave trade
you
ended
win
long
the dress.
ago.
Nothing's going to come out of this. That's what the MPP is saying. At least Richard Ahiagba has said this morning, that when it comes to this particular matter, he can foresee where it's going to end, and it is not going to do any good to the fight against corruption, even though Serenam Tamaklo has been extradited to Ghana.
Yeah.
That demand that was made as well.
So once again, much earlier I didn't find Prof and your good self here, so good morning to you. You know, ordinarily I didn't want to partake in this conversation for obvious personal reasons, but I felt that it's important for the sake of public education and informing the public adequately that some matters are put in proper perspective. I've always maintained that part of the politics of the MPP is anchored on the philosophy of demonizing your opponents. And so one of the ways of doing that demonization, and because we run a competitive electoral process, the whole idea is that as many of your opponents that you demonize, it gives you that leverage, as it were, to be able to be more competitive as far as electorates are concerned. And so if you look right from independence, either UP, Matimehu, or whatever, their politics have always been anchored on demonization.
No,
please, Senior, calm down. Senior, calm down. No, Senior, you calm down. You have the benefit of coming up. And so one of the things that they have done over the period is either make reference about Nkrumah. So if you look, immediately after the coup, they set up different commissions of inquiries. And the very work of the commissions of inquiry is to make adverse findings of corruption and misdeed against Osagyefo from Anisia Gay commissions of inquiry, among others. Fast forward to our democratic settings. If you recall, immediately the NPP came to power, one of the things they did was to set up the National Reconciliation Commission. The thinking at that time was that the National Reconciliation Commission was going to help reconcile a people broken, a people that have suffered. What we didn't know, that whole commission of inquiry was to target Jerry Rawlings and a few of his associates. And if you look at the proceedings of the National Reconciliation, and thankfully it was televised, everything was choreographed to demonize the Jerry Rawlings administration. Then came the issues of prosecution. 1993, the Criminal Offences Act was amended to include causing financial loss to the state. That law was never used.
It was never meant to be.
In fact, it was never used until President Kufuor became president and the weaponization of Section 179A started. For the entire 8 years rule of President Kufuor, not one MPP official was found to have caused financial loss to the state. But the verdict is with the people of this country. Right. But every known associate of Jerry Rawlings, including his chief of staff at that time, were all prosecuted one way or the other for causing financial loss to the state. It was never lost to the NDC. And so, fundamentally, the MPP appreciate that prosecution is a veritable way of demonizing your opponent. In fact, if if you read the quality grain decision, Justice Dixon Kwame Afre struggled to even find the basis to convict them. And so he started his judgment by saying that, look, there's news in the report, newspaper report, that these individuals are being prosecuted for stealing and corruption. I want to put on record that they are not being prosecuted for stealing or corruption, but it's a new offense called causing financial loss to the state. Before he started the analysis of his judgment, the reason why I'm bringing this antecedent is to let you know that all you need is for a political party to weaponize prosecution for its own political ends.
So what?
Now I'm bringing now to the steady thing. When NPP came to power, Mr. Yao Osafo Honorable decided to set up a special so-called forensic audit committee at the office of the president, annex, just behind here. And now what did he do? Pick specific audit agencies, including Bafwe Wen Associates, a known NPP audit agency. It's not in doubt. To proceed to audit the work of Maslock. That whole undertaking was for a purpose. To at all costs find wrongdoing against Sedina. Now you say, what is even curious? And like Martin pointed out, if you look at that whole trial, it was a charade. The whole trial was anchored on the so-called audit conducted by Bafwe Wa and Associates.
No, if you said the whole trial was a charade, was there no basis for it?
I'm coming.
Or the outcome of that particular audit?
Please, I'm coming. If you look at the entire, and I always say, you see, when you do an audit and you don't even invite the person you are auditing to even make an input and all of those, cross-examination is what will expose you.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Cross-examination itself is what will expose you.
The team must also be
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So first of all, this was a special audit. And one of the things that was done was even to audit SNITs. Thankfully, Mr. Ernest Thompson and co. challenged that audit finding. I want to just read part of the cross-examination that took place, just for you to appreciate the basis of that, you know. This is what happened under cross-examination, and you can see it at page 64 of the record of volume 5 of the record of proceedings. I just want to read. It said, the officers you interviewed from Maslock, from the head office, no one indicated that there was no sensitization. Is that correct? Answer. That is not correct. Question. The officers who wrote statements indicating that they were sent to cash checks and handed over the monies to A1 did not indicate that there was no sensitization. Is that right? Answer. That is correct. Meanwhile, the whole basis of that trial was that monies were spent and there was no sensitization. Mm-hmm. You get her prosecuted, causing financial loss, no commitment to the state, whatever. She committed the state to undertakings. However, like Martin pointed out, the payment for those buses were done in 2018 by Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta after a rigorous investigation. So you have put out there for your party communicator to say that the price of the buses were inflated.
Okay. Have we paid?
If the buses were inflated, what would be the basis for Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta to make the payment? Why would he pay for buses whose prices were inflated when you have the opportunity to rescind the contract?
For damn politics.
You know, so if you pick the entirety of that whole case, it was the usual NPP politics. Look, I've always maintained. This morning, my brother made mention of Opuni's matter. See, the Opuni's matter remains one of the biggest blots as far as criminal justice is concerned in this republic. Mm-hmm. I am even surprised that you have the courage to even make reference to the Opuni matter. See, Yoko had investigated Opuni. Yoko found no basis for prosecution. Osafo went for the docket from Yoko and said he never understood why the police did not, Yoko did not find basis to prosecute. And now took the very docket that Yoko investigated and took those dockets to the CID to reinvestigate the entire thing. On the basis of the CID investigation, Opuni was then prosecuted. Now, guess what happened? The miracle. After my Lord Justice Onyenuga heard all the prosecution witnesses, something interesting happened. Lawyers for Opuni, through the prosecution witnesses, tendered in 14 pieces of documentary evidence.
Right.
The judge asked the prosecution witness and the prosecutors, the attorneys, do you have any objection to the tendering of these 14 pieces of document through your prosecution witnesses? The record bears it out. No, they said no objection. So then you see his record. This document is admitted without no objection. Now guess what? Based on the admission of those 14 pieces of document, lawyers for Opuni then said, look, you know what? There is no basis for this trial to continue. Do you know the miracle the judge performed?
Round up on that.
I will
Because
round
want
up.
to
Yes.
Bring in this
Do
issue.
you know the miracle the judge performed? Once he went home to write his own ruling on the submission of no case, the judge now said, this document that were admitted without no objection, I am raising the objection alone and rejecting those pieces. Having so rejected those documents, he now proceeded to say he has a case to answer. Where in this world can that happen? Where in this world?
To the extent
So
that
you have all
are involved in this
dubious
case.
records, and you have the courage this morning to even come and talk about say this matter.
But you
See, listen.
Did you
No,
have to?
Alfred, I beg you. Alfred, let me, Alfred, I beg you.
On that round up on that point.
I want to just round
bro.
up.
I want to give him some of my time. You should continue.
Prof, what are you doing?
Okay, that's fine.
Please,
That's all right.
let me just
All right.
conclude on this. You see, this morning I listened to my brother Richard Ahiagba's prelim, and he went to town. And you try controlling the process. See, we happen to be
The
cancelled
same
for.
thing he is doing now.
We happen to be
The
cancelled.
same thing he is doing now. So continue with your
please.
intervention.
Bail
And
conditions.
let us not digress from the subject matter.
See, the 12 years plus of my practice has all been dedicated to criminal practice and a bit of civil practice. And so one of the things I have always done is to advocate for the right of accused persons and suspects.
Of course.
And I have consistently done that. On bail, I'm surprised today bail has become an issue. You know Dr. Kwabena Dufo? Do you know him?
Yes.
In fact, Bamia is because of Dufo. His first appointment within the public service of Ghana was when Dr. Dufo was deputy governor in charge of administration and HR. Yeah. He took him into Bank of Ghana around 96 or so. That is the foundation of who today he is, for whatever is worth. Dr. Dufo was prosecuted under the MPP. We appeared in court for him and asked the court for bail for Dufo. Look at Dufo, deputy governor, finance minister, owns several businesses in this country. A man of that stature. The judge admitted him, in fact, to bail at 100 million Ghana cedis to be justified in this country. I was there. I was lawyer that day.
And there's a practice you oppose. So,
wait, I beg you. Upon all prayers, the bail was reduced from 100 million to 65 million Ghana cedis. Dufo. No self-recognizance. Does it not work enough for Ghana? Almost 80-something-year-old man. We imposed a bail of 65 million Ghana cedis on him at the time when the so-called apostles of the rule of law were in power. Is it the case of amnesia or loss of memory? So, look, you see, I have always opposed the idea. Please, Senior, I beg you.
This language. No.
You see, my point is that I have always opposed stringent bail condition because they come across as always punishing the person ahead of even the trial. Yes, that's my personal view about this matter.
Right.
Especially so when you know the person, investigators know the person among others. Look, there's a young NDC guy who the police declared wanted. So when they declared him wanted, I spoke to the family that, please, no. Come along with him. Let's go to the police. So I called my senior Sosu, and he got me a lawyer, director legal. And we took the young man to the police just behind, the Dampari had this police office behind the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
Just here, just at the back here. Look, I thought by sending the guy there, it would be enough basis for him to be granted bail. You know what happened? When we went to court, the judge says no bail. She was going to do the case daily. Eventually, I went to the High Court and got bail. Do you know that this young man was eventually convicted? It was a daily trial. I remember there was a day the guy came to court. Sosu was then representing him because I was engaged in other businesses. So I asked my senior Sosu, then one day Sosu, because of parliamentary duties, he couldn't go to court. You know what the judge said? The judge said, if your lawyer is not here, proceed with the cross-examination yourself. These are things that have happened. They are not good enough. Okay. But I don't expect this level of pontification to become it. So I strongly believe that this whole extradition, thankfully, yes, it's true. When Richard says it commenced under the administration, that's a fact. What I also know, and there are letters to that effect, is that when Dr. Ayene even came, he followed up on those with written correspondences with the Americans. Mm-hmm. In fact, for this particular movement to Ghana, as late as Tuesday, the state Ghana had to pay for her airfare. The state Ghana sent Yoko officials to US to bring her. And so they claim that the government knows nothing about it. It's far from the truth. In fact, government of Ghana pressurized the Americans to bring her. That is what the rule of law entails. That's what the rule of law entails. So for whatever is worth, let's all maintain it is the rule of law that got her convicted. Let's see what the outcome. But in one breath, you are happy that the rule of law got her convicted. But you are sad that the rule of law got somebody bail. Okay. Which of the rule of law do you believe in?
Let me acknowledge the presence of Kofi.
But the rule of law, according to the NDC, not the independent of the rule of law, but it's subject to the NDC.
Look at you. Look at you.
That's strange because it's the NDC.
Jonathan, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Alfred. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, I took notice of that concession of time to Lawyer Digi Tamaklo by Professor Jampo. Professor
Prof doesn't have any more
publicly
time.
That he has given part of his time to Lawyer Digi Tamaklo.
So all of it.
Only two.
He said all of it.
3 minutes. 3 minutes of his time.
No. He said all of it.
No. 3 minutes of his time.
He said all.
You are not an accurate timekeeper.
Let me hear you.
He said all.
Having listened to it,
Prof, you have the courage to assume a responsibility now that you have ceded your right?
No, only 3 minutes.
Please.
having listened to Eduji, and I'm sure Ghanaians are also listening. I don't know whether I have anything useful
you don't have to
to add, but just to make the point that
Politics.
Earlier, Ahiagba was trying to pin me down to my own study about the factors that determine voter behavior. And then he wanted to cleverly just refer to just one of the
So
variables.
paper you publish, he's your student. So
Yeah,
you should explain
just
that.
refer to one of the variables, but he's forgotten that I taught him and I still teach him. So you cannot outsmart me in any way, especially using my own study. Just to let me make the point that
but he can
there
do a
are
critique of your study.
many. No, he can do that.
Yes.
No, but he
Intellectually and also
there
you
are
can
so many
adopt them.
variables that shape voter behavior. Okay, so in the study that you mentioned, yes, I recall that work I did with my senior colleague, Professor Emmanuel Deborah. It was about the youth and party manifestos in Ghana's Fourth Republic. But within that same study, we also alluded to the fact that, look, there are so many other variables that determine voter behavior, including the credibility of candidates, the mood of the nation, sociological factors, ideological factors, party identification models, and so many other variables. And so it is not so right for you to say only promises alone and all that. Promises matter. People you promise when they hear and they want to, based on that, determine their voter preference. I mean, it happens all the time, but it's not promises alone.
Prof, just for purposes of clarifying, you see, that finding you made was critical because hitherto, the literature was suggesting that it is mostly primordial factors that people consider in voting. So what you found is critical.
Okay,
it's groundbreaking that we found that young people in this country vote not based on primordial factors,
give me the rest
but
of my
because
time.
of issues.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, so it's critical. I haven't mischaracterized your findings at all. It's key.
On the discussions that have taken place right now, I listened to Ahiagba and the way and manner he was going on and on. I was wondering whether we should still continue on this tangent of our politicking because it doesn't help. You see, what we are maybe failing to appreciate is the fact that Ghanaians are now very wide awake. And some of these things, if you are seeking to throw dust into their eyes, they see it. And unfortunately, as part of the work that I do, I also talk to people. You know, I'm still teaching, I'm still doing research. And so there are so many work that we are doing behind the scenes, and it means engaging people. And sometimes when you listen to what people are saying, and then you juxtapose it to what our political elites are also saying, then you wonder, are they listening to what the owners of the power they seek to exercise? Are they listening to what their views are? Look, how do you say? We have the history of the of Ghana's Fourth Republic show that at least we've had a regime or a president that has supervised the jailing of his own appointee. We've had it before. President Mahama's time, Abu Gapili was thrown into jail. Kufuor,
the process started under NDC, but it was not thrown in jail then.
Happened.
Yeah, but
you just came to continue.
Yes, factually.
But you've not had the courage to put one of your own.
But I'm just saying that.
I think the point he wants to make is that you've not had the courage to put one of your own.
But it's not accurate.
Just for the record.
No, it's not accurate that you have put your own person in jail. You haven't done it.
Under whose regime was he convicted?
If it started, it doesn't mean it was going to end in that. So please, accurately.
But the prosecution started.
But it doesn't mean he was sentenced under you.
But what did
he could have been acquitted.
Did you play the conviction?
No, he could have been acquitted.
Did you play the role in the conviction?
I'm saying, but he was convicted.
Did you
under
play the role in the conviction?
Under MPP, that was what
you
happened.
are not answering.
I'm saying that it happened under MPP, not under NDC.
Very well.
So Prof should be fair to the fact.
All right, Richard, I won't mind you, don't worry. So, having brought Sedina through extradition, I am hoping, in fact, I'm very happy that this has happened because it was an issue that we kept referring to. She's been a fugitive, she's done that. Today, he's been brought back. And once again, our usual partisan politicking, that feels like it is so offensive and so wrong to admit when something right has been done by a regime. played out here this morning, where Ahiagba is telling all Ghanaians that the government of the day knew nothing about the extradition of Sedna. I thought
That's not correct.
I thought that, look, we can do our partisan politicking, but you see, don't do it in a manner that creates an impression that the listening public, they are dumb.
Oh,
if you do that, I said, don't do it in a manner that creates that impression. Because if you do that, you see, you tend to insult. Oh, you see, when we are talking,
But he's referring to me. Prof, very important. If you don't allow me, we will not move on. No. The point is this. Prof has said,
If you say no,
because he's mischaracterizing everything I've said, and I want to stay on record and say no problem. Hold on 1 second.
I will give you
allow me. No, let me make this intervention. It is critical. So let me pause. Let me make it.
I would allow you to make the intervention.
Yes. Let me make it right here and now.
Hold on. Not because if you do not do so, we will not continue.
Because I won't allow you. Because if I do,
no, Mr. Agba,
I've never been agitated.
But Prof is strategically saying,
I would give you. Hold on.
No problem. Okay, just give it to me. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, I will give you the chance to rebut or respond.
But this morning, Richard Ahiagba is undermining free speech.
This program, no,
but you see, if you begin to speak and I begin to do the same thing,
you can do it. If I mischaracterize you, you can do it.
What I'm saying is that
mischaracterizing what I have said, and I'm not going to allow you, because when you come back to me, there are other things I want to say. But when he says something factually incorrect, I should be able to correct him.
And I allow when he references you for you to respond.
Okay, so please,
he has done so.
Richard,
if it's not
stop
done,
being
so please, focus on the issue.
Hold on, gentlemen.
On the floor.
Hold on. If a reference is made to what you said,
yes,
which is out of place,
yes,
or mischaracterized,
yes,
I will give you the leverage to respond.
So
that is not to say that if that is not done, we will not continue. No, we will.
Okay,
but then again, you would have the right to respond when he references you regarding a statement you made.
Very well.
Yes.
So
what
quickly.
Exactly did he say?
So no, but you are truncating my
no.
Let me finish.
But then stay on message. When you have come here and you have decided to attack the MPP, acting as if you are neutral but you are NDC, we need to get it. The point you have made. When I made the claim, I said that I referred to MG to say that if he can furnish us any letter from this administration in pursuit of the extradition.
Okay.
But that the claim is that
can be by full.
That is,
so why limit it?
But then there is so it is not out of place what I said.
Right.
No, it is not out of place what I said. So when you want to say, please, this intentional attack on MPP trying to make it this way, because you're all opposition. Now we have gone past the point where you are neutral. You are now NDC, so be clear about it. Be clear about it. Our politicking. You are the one doing the politicking. You are the one doing the politicking.
So please, can I go on? Okay, all right, thank you. Richard, stop being unnecessarily agitated.
I am not agitated. It is you.
Stop being unnecessarily agitated. I am not agitated. No, so he made the point that the ruling government knows nothing about what had gone on.
And I asked for evidence.
Okay, you will proceed.
Okay.
Calm down.
And I'm saying that when you don't live in a jungle, but you live in a state headed by a president that has formed a government and looks at all these things. And indeed, Eduji was telling us that Yoko had to actually go there to facilitate the extradition. Yeah. And the government already had to even pay for the cost. So if you sit here without even knowing these bits and pieces of information, if you sit here and say the government of the day knew nothing about it.
You see, Alfred,
it creates an
here's where I have a problem.
So he
should talk about the issue rather than talking about me. I have made my claim. If you have a contrary fact to what I have said, provide it. You don't have the evidence and you are talking about me. No, Alfred, you need to be clear. I have made a claim. Does he have the fact that the government did ABCD? The point I made was relative to we initiated the process. We said that we initiated the process. If you listen to what was said, hold on. This thing by Prof, you need to correct it.
It's not in doubt.
This thing by Prof, you see, if you want to be NDC, refer to it because that's what he's doing.
Hold on.
Even Eduji's claim, everything Eduji said, I have come back, which I will come back at. But what you are doing is really just come here and try to bastardize what somebody said. You are on the program to say your views about the matter. But why are you just talking about me when you don't have the facts? Where is your evidence? Where is your evidence that the NDC did anything? You haven't shown it. Where is the evidence?
Your microphone.
But you haven't brought the evidence. So how do you have it when you haven't brought it? You don't have it. That's what he does all the time. When you come here, you are attacking other people instead of talking about what it is you are here to talk about.
No, okay.
Stay on course.
No, Alfred, let me make the point again.
You need to correct it.
No,
you can't be here talking about people.
Let me make the point
talking about MPP. You are to answer a question on the floor. You don't have the evidence. And you are claiming as if somebody doesn't have it. I'm going to put the evidence here.
You are not being heard now, Prof.
Unfortunately for him, he doesn't. He knows me, but he pretends he doesn't know me. These things don't do anything to me. I will say what I want to say.
No problem. And I'll rebut anytime he says it. I'll come in. I'll come in.
You don't have,
and I won't let you say it. I won't let you say it.
You don't have what it takes to prevent me from talking.
But you won't say it.
While you are doing this, your time is going on.
I won't let you.
I'm going to
I won't let you do it. That's the question because you have done it one too many times. You have done it one too many times, and I'm not going to let you do it. Come here and represent yourself. You don't come here and act as if you are more NDC than the NDC person. You're attacking MPP, attacking us and all of that. But you are not neutral. Okay. You're not neutral. So speak your mind on the matter. Speak your mind. You haven't brought any evidence and you are talking as if...
You know that I'm going to come to you.
Yes,
whatever you're doing...
What Prof is doing is out of line and you need to correct it.
So I'll take it out of you.
Correct it.
All right. So there's no neutrality when one will have to speak the truth. And one will have to choose between what is right and what is wrong. And so the idea of you are not neutral, you are non-neutral, does not make sense to me. If you have to choose between what is right and wrong,
you cannot be neutral.
Now, so let me continue to make the point. And like I've said, I mean, these things, we are used to them, and so they are normal. But I serve notice that when he begins to talk, I'll do the same thing.
No problem. All right. If I say anything about you, you can come in. That's all.
Going back to what really I wanted to say, and Alfred, don't be doing your hands like this because I'm now having the opportunity to speak.
No, Prof. I've taken notice of your time.
Okay,
the time
so
you see that
he was heckling me. Please. So don't also do same.
Yes.
I look at what has happened to Sedina, and then also the revelation that even the wrong she is supposed to have committed was paid for by a successor regime. And you have this elements of this same successor regime criminalizing and saying all manner of things. My heart bleeds. I got into office and I saw certain contracts that have been awarded. And I said, this one, if I feed into it by paying, if I don't sit down with those who had gone into the contract and I pay, I'll be doing the service to Mother Ghana, and tomorrow I may be blamed. And so there are some of the contractors I said, no, I'm renegotiating. Others I said, I'm not paying. If you like, take me to court, because I did not understand the basis for such awards. And so if you are a government and then you see some of these things that have been done wrong, and then you know they were wrong, and you still go ahead to pay, and today you turn around to come and criminalize the one, or to come and talk as if you played no role in this whole issue, then where are we going as a people and as a nation? And what I also want to add is the fact that it's a caution to all political appointees serving in President Mahama's government today. You see, all these things that are happening, she's been the one who is being dragged alone. Mm-hmm. If you get the chance and you are privileged to be given the nod to serve, know that should anything go wrong, you see, the president has entrusted into your care some confidence, believing that you will be able to do it.
The president does not come to us on daily basis to tell us, do this, follow the rules, No. He's entrusted into you a certain confidence that you will be able to help him govern the country, you'll be able to help him prosecute his mandate. And so, if you get that privilege, think about tomorrow, not today.
Okay.
You see, think about tomorrow and not today. Look, we get into office and everybody who knows you are appointed come to you. Give me supply, give me contract, give me supply, give everybody. And I keep asking myself, how do we give those supplies? You are inundated on daily basis. Everybody is coming with paper. Can you give me something to do? But how do we give something to do without following the rules? Okay? The whole of the nation. I mean, this one, my co-panelists here, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. They create an impression as if once somebody is appointed, then he has the power to just look at his friends, his family members, and get this. You go and do this for me. You go and no, not me, Rans, for example, who follow the rules. And I'm telling all my colleague appointees that if you don't follow the rules and you allow pressures from other people, give me supply, give me contract, procurement, what are they doing? I want to do some. If they want to do some, let them come and bid competitively. If they win, you know, the rules, the processes will show, the system will show that they won competitively. But if you don't do so, and you just allow these pressures to push you into doing certain things, tomorrow, the government of the day may not be there.
Right.
But it is you who will be held for accountability. And you should be thinking about your wife, your children, your well-wishers, and all that. And so for me, what I take from this is the fact, and it's a warning to all of us who have been appointed today, that as you serve the country, as you are entrusted, as the president has reposed into your hands a certain confidence, please serve in a manner that is mindful of what is likely to happen tomorrow. Because I've always said that I don't want, after serving, you should have done things such that anybody who comes to continue from where you've ended will say that you have done well. Okay. Even if they decide to witch hunt, they will do it such that they will find and find.
They have to disgrade themselves.
Thank you very much.
Before you understand. So my point is, you should let us. I mean, all the other processes, whether she has rights, human rights to assert, whether she's entitled to bail, whether she can go on appeal and all that, I leave that to our justice system and our judicial processes. And I hope that our typically brutish attitude would not stand in the way of people's quests to seek or to protect, ensure that their human rights are upheld. Sometimes it becomes a bit, we claim we are a country of law and we believe in rule of law, and yet when the processes are being followed, sometimes we seem to have problems with the very processes that we tout. And so I want to believe that the justice system, the legal processes would handle everything relating to this woman as she's been brought back. But the key lesson is that appointees of today must always act in a manner that shows that they are also concerned about what is likely to happen to them tomorrow. And so that should embolden them, enable them, advise them to do what is right today. So that tomorrow, when you are not in office, you can sleep in peace.
That clarion call that you make to all your appointees is one that General Yagba will not disagree with us, at least.
He will not what?
He will not disagree.
Why
he agrees.
You disagree.
I also,
you disagree. Now you now disagree. But don't try to know you. Don't try to know you. Don't try to know you. I don't
disagree. Yes. I also agree with you. In fact, we have all served in public service before, and the experiences that we have post-service should encourage present-day appointees to also behave same. In fact, in my particular case, I served as the acting chief executive of Free Zones Board, and my successor, Kojo, we are talking daily. He calls me, and in fact, on occasion, on occasion, he didn't understand the transaction. He called me, and I said, Andy, but why did you give this land to this company for free. I said at the time we were to justify our capacity to populate the enclave for the loan that we were seeking from World Bank. And we didn't have any company there, so I had to bring this company from Cote d'Ivoire
just to show that something is happening.
So that we had to show them, and World Bank came to interview them. So Kojo too understood that, and now the free zone enclave is populated, it's finished. So I told Kojo, instead of leveraging this cost against free zones, just distribute it onto subsequent purchases so that we can offset.
You minimize it.
You see, public service is not bad if you go there with a clear intention to support the system. Again, sometimes I get very sad when every issue is politicized.
Sadly.
And we need to have a state where we have statesmen who will bring balance when the partisan politicians are behaving according to their political positions. I don't like it when institutions of state are duly politicized so that they cannot operate by the rules of engagement and that kind of thing. So, and let me come back. And before I do so, when I come here, I want us to consider the topics as given to us and discuss them. But unfortunately, sometimes, I'm not sure that any of us have answered the questions you have posed to us for today. We have all stated positions in our mind that we wanted. Indeed, we all try to serve our own questions and answer them. But let me go straight to this point. I think bail should not be a punishment for anybody.
Absolutely.
Absolutely for nobody. And that people are entitled to bail. And I'm not saying it is because of this woman's case. All cases. And that bail should not be excessive. Conditions should not be excessive to deprive them of the bail. And I see nothing wrong whatsoever with the application of the lawyers for bail pending the hearing of the appeal. It happens all the time. It has happened before I was born, and it continues to happen. So,
I like that.
And similarly, similarly to all other applications for bail, and I'll pray that let the judicial service be our sanctuary, so that when you are in trouble, you will go there and you will receive justice. But if you go to the judicial system and you are denied justice, that is the worst expectation for any citizen of the country. So let us all support the building of the institution that will provide us with the cover, the justice that we deserve as citizens of the country. So let the court be courts. Let the courts also go through the appeal. And indeed, what is the profit that we will get as a country if all of us are put in jail, waiting for trial and all that kind of thing? So let us also, I understand that now the judicial system is also setting up to the expectations of the public. In fact, all these commentaries are going to them. Most of them are watching. So they know that if the public is not interested or is not happy with the conditions they put on bail, they will be so advised and so informed. So I like the conversation on bail this morning. And I want to also see that it is not a regime thing. The conditions prevail in all regimes, and let us follow the rules at all times. So it is not anything that is fetish when there is an application for bail pending a hearing of an appeal. So also, there is nothing fetish about an accused person standing before trial and applying for bail. In recent times, bail conditions have been very harsh. All of us are not happy. So let our lords understand that, well, we cannot punish somebody until he has been proven to be guilty of an offense. And let us also respect the decisions as coming from the court. And our judiciary must also understand that people put value to the decisions they make. We talk about the old judges. We have talked about so many, I don't want to mention any name. But the legacy that you leave is that which you sustain your interest and your participation and your presence during the time. If you are seen to be giving obnoxious decisions, trust me, your legacy will be eroded over time. So it is for all of us to understand that we are building a state. And the state is built through institutions. And institutions must grow. And as they grow, they should grow for the better, not grow for the worse. So the public conversation is important for all of us to make sure. But again, in our attempt to promote our parties, we need the parties to survive so that the competition will bring the improvement. But we don't have to kill one another so that we can survive.
What are you talking about exactly?
If MPP kills NDC or NDC kills MPP, it will be a one-party state. It will be our creation. And all of us, both MPP and NDC, we don't like a one-party state. But the way we are attacking each other, I have a feeling that all of us, we want to kill this one also want to kill this one, and create a situation that you don't like. So let's improve together and then create a situation where there will be a balance, so that in the balance, we will enjoy freedom and justice as a nation.
And here's why I bring in Mr. Bento, because there's a point that Martin Kpebu made regarding this particular case and how that plays out in the coming days. Because you cannot stop people from
in this
thinking,
case,
from thinking a certain way regarding how this case will play out. But that suspicion about her return, her extradition, and whether or not this case would, as Mr. Agba is saying, would go in a certain way that will not even help in the fight against corruption, depends on the judicial system.
Yes. And therefore, we should encourage the judicial system to be up and doing, follow the rules, and bring out decisions that can be sustained. So it is important. But again, Martin said something that he was not happy with the lawyers in the case because the charge sheet was defective. These new lawyers are raising issues with the charge sheet. So let's wait until the charge sheet, the propriety or otherwise, is determined by the court. So you cannot even just stand up and be accusing the previous lawyers in the case. Every lawyer has his strategy in prosecuting, and in fact, every case calls for a strategy commensurate with the expectations in the case. So let us not be judgmental when we haven't finished with the determination of the matters in court.
I see. Thank you.
Mr. Okanse, can I come in 1 second?
So that I have Mr. Bento have a take on this. Yes, quickly.
Yeah, let's correct Apia Kubi. Honorable, what I said was that I'm mad that Ofori-Atta had a hand in this case, and it was never highlighted. Do you see that Ofori-Atta paid for the buses about 2 years later?
Did you hear me mention Ofori-Atta?
A loan be held. The payer, the person
I was talking about the lawyers, not
Ofori-Atta.
Ofori-Atta. I haven't mentioned Ofori-Atta, please.
No, I'm the one saying, that's the one I'm saying. I'm sad that the lawyers.
That's where he associated the sadness, not what the lawyers
I heard a critique of the lawyers. And I'm saying that at the time, if the lawyers didn't even find it, and now they have found it, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, for us to be able to determine whether it was wrongly appreciated or otherwise, let the judicial system give us that.
And it's on that same part that I bring Mr. Benton about the judicial system and how this particular case will play out. Because obviously the suspicions of how this case will play out, you cannot prevent it. But that certainly can be cured by the system, is it not?
Yes. There's a lot going on. And, you know, so a lot of times I am interested in communicating to the public. So see, my brother Martin is making a huge case about, and Ofori-Atta paid for the buses, and because of that, hell should break loose. So somebody bought a bottle of water for 10,000 cedis. That bottle of water is ordinarily worth 2 cedis. And that person is not the one to pay, it's a child. Promised 10,000. And when everything was set, the person was demanding the money from the child's parents. And of course, you can imagine, how do you buy water for 10,000? It's because there was a time, the child was in public, they have a solution. You have to put water inside to drink. Basically, that boy was going to die. And at the time, he needed water. He should have had it, he didn't have it. Somebody was there, and then in the heat of it, blurted that promise. Okay, is it binding? Mm-hmm. Is it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If you inherit a contract, it is binding.
Absolutely. So that child who recklessly made a promise to somebody that my father can pay you 10,000, give me the water. And the person gave the water and later claimed the 10,000. If the father paid 10,000, is he a fool? If you look at it, ordinarily, why do you do that? But if that child had not promised that 10,000 or whatever it is, his life would be at stake. Look, we can argue this ad absurdum. A debt properly incurred is payable, no matter how reasonable or unreasonable it was at the time. Because you don't know some of the issues. Governance is a continuum. Okay, and if you have the time, me and Martin will debate this till we finish. But the point I want to make is this: if a government inherits a debt, and look, we have inherited judgment debts, we have inherited judgment debts, we have inherited all kinds of corrupt debts, we have inherited all kinds of things that don't make sense.
That takes us into
And this is the history. In fact, that is why the World Bank pushed for the law on causing financial loss to the state. Because some people ended up causing losses to the state, which were lawful and had to be paid. So the idea was, well, we will scrutinize the reason why you went there, and when we go after you.
Yes, how does...
When they finish talking, I'll continue.
No, but you see, Alfred,
Your microphones are off.
Okay. Alfred, you know what? Kofi had brought an interesting perspective, and it's good for the public.
Yes, that will be debated when you have a contrary.
So, any payment that is made by any public official, first point, it is not their money. They should account for it. Ken Ofori-Atta should come and account for why he made that payment.
Right.
But to every question, there is an answer. If you don't know it, it doesn't mean there's no answer. All right? So this adds to the calls for Ken to come and do the answer. But Martin and Co should not proceed to say, hey, Ken came and saw a debt on the books and then he paid the debt. And because he paid the debt, said Sedinat Tamaklo should walk free. That's sophistry. Okay, is sophistry. That is an absurd interpretation of anything. So, see, let's discard that.
But you see, it comes to the point about, so for instance, if the analogy that you made, whoever inherited that particular questionable kind of debt, does the person also, if you say it's binding, can't the person also raise queries about exactly why?
That's what I'm saying. To every question, there is an answer. Wait, if he finishes talking, I'll talk.
Okay. No.
All right. To every question, there's an answer. The fact that you have a question, your child comes and says, I bought water for 10,000, and you are mad and ask why. So Ken should answer why he did it.
Yes.
Okay, which is why Ken should come and answer. But Martin and Co should not sit here and make the suggestion that you inherit government and you inherit debts and you proceed to pay. And because you paid, the person who made the foolish decision should walk free. She should also come and answer. So the point must be made. Look, as far as I'm concerned, okay, we need to develop a system in this country, okay, where after every government leaves office, there should be a law that says after every government leaves office, all the appointees of that government should be in this country for a minimum of 12 months. And everything they do should be scrutinized. Oral must be permanent. 1 year after every government, every decision should be gone into. Let's build a whole institution to do that work. All right? Now, why am I saying so? I formed Occupy Ghana. We went to court about Auditor General. You know why? Because the systems in place to scrutinize these things as they were going on had been compromised. Nobody was being surcharged. Nobody was, no expense was being disallowed, etc. People were just stealing from the state, left and right. And then when the government goes, everything goes away. And the Auditor General was sitting there. When we got the right person to do the job, MPP came and sacked him. All right? So please, this issue about asking questions and answering it, I think should be institutionalized. But nobody should say, because somebody comes into office and then they make a decision to pay a debt that was previously incurred, means that the person who incurred it previously can walk free. That said, let me proceed. Now, when they finish, I'll continue.
Okay.
I haven't finished at all. I haven't finished at all.
No, yes.
I haven't finished. I haven't finished. Let me finish. They all had a long time to talk. So, see, this is about Sedinat Tamaklo. Okay? Listen, I'm clear in my mind that there was no intention to bring Sedinat Tamaklo back, except for the reason that it was an impediment in their prosecution against Ken Ofori-Atta. Because all of us said that if you have Sedinat Tamaklo, who has been tried, convicted, and has escaped justice, is a fugitive, okay, if you have that person and you are comparing that person to somebody who has not been charged, not been tried when he could have been tried, you have put out 78 charges, which are weak charges against that person, and you are asking for that person to be extradited, there's no way it will happen. When I said it, people came at me and said I was defending Ken, whatever it is. Everything I said has come to pass. Today, Ken is still outside there. He's not coming here. Some of the things I said were actually in the judgment, that it looks like this thing is political. My point is this. Sedinam was an impediment in continuing the prosecution of Ken Ofori-Atta. And so they had to deal with that. How? Because of what I just said. At one, you have two cases. One person has been tried, has been convicted, has escaped justice, and is in the same US. And you are not talking about it. Another person has been accused, has not been even charged. He doesn't know what he's supposed to answer to. He has not been tried when you could have tried him. He has not been convicted, and a trial can lead to a conviction or an acquittal. Yeah. Okay, there is nothing that gives you a reasonable legal basis to ask for another government to bring that person down. When Sedinam is sitting there. So I have made my point and I stick with it. Sedinam was an impediment in the prosecution of Ken Ofori-Atta. Because of that, they had to go back and do the right thing by bringing Sedinam. They have brought her. That's the proper thing. Now proceed and do justice. You see, somebody said here, I forgot who it was, that oral should be both ways. I think it was you. No, I think it's okay. Now, if you are talking about oral as in recovering all loot, and I think you talked about the nolli prosequis and co. Yeah. Seriously, it beats imagination. Okay, that you come and a case is completed. Wait for the judges to just pronounce guilty or not guilty. And you come and just get rid of all of them. Okay? Please.
No. Because
let me
you
continue.
made a
Let me make my point.
In which specific case are we talking about?
I'm actually my mind is actually on the my mind is on the Opuni case.
No, on the Opuni case.
The Opuni case.
I'm saying that the state had closed. No, the state had closed. No,
the bearer of the
let's
asking the specific question. Which case exactly are you
Don't mislead people.
I think it was mentioned. Somebody here mentioned that the Opuni case.
The state has
closed. Agogo was calling his defense witnesses.
So that case.
I said the state.
No, please.
I said the state.
But the state closure, prosecution closure does not bring closure.
But I'm not saying that the state. I was specific.
You are rephrasing.
I'm saying that no.
Did you learn on
No. The point is, the point you made is that the state had closed, which is true.
Whatever you are doing,
when did you learn all of you? You don't want to direct the conversation. The state had closed its eyes, and so therefore, where did you learn that from?
Mr. Benton made a specific statement
about
that there was a particular case that had been closed. Wait,
but the state had closed. It's factual that the state has closed.
Was there a specific case?
The Opuni case.
No.
That's
the state had you are not being answered the question. Was there a specific case
they're trying to say that it's not?
The case had been closed awaiting judgment?
None.
And there was
the point I'm making is that it was said here this morning that at least I think in the Opuni case, the Attorney General, the prosecution had closed closed their case.
Yes.
Right? They don't have any other job to do.
Yes.
Wait for the defense to finish and let the judges rule.
Come.
So when you have a situation where you are interested as a statesman, as a public officer in recovering loot, and somebody who occupied public office has been accused of a thing like this, and the case has been made, waiting to hear their defense, where is your compulsion to go and get rid of the whole case? At least just leave it alone, let them get through the process. So for me, I think that, look, when we talk about public office, people must understand it's not their property. Okay? You get in there, you are in a position of trust, and you are actually dealing with poor people's money. Look at Accra flooding.
Hold on, let me just... please.
He's giving me some apple.
Let me listen to Mr. Bento. And Mr. Bento, round up for me. I didn't invite you.
He's so close to Kofi Bento and giving him unnecessary support.
No, gentlemen.
My thoughts are all
Sponsored by Richard.
So
You are
see,
projecting yourself onto me. That's what you were doing.
public officials must answer. People who hold state office must hold those offices as offices of trust. Attorney General, okay, and must do their jobs at least above board. Look at least as if it is, being done fairly and honestly. I worry about the judiciary. I worry because in both governments, there are times when it looks as if the judiciary is not independent.
Okay.
The things that, or the political system we are working requires a separation of powers. 3 branches of government which check on each other. Mm-hmm. The judiciary, and those who have read Marbury and Madison, that is extremely important. Mm-hmm. It tells you that the judiciary is really the senior of the others. Yep. Because they can tell you, strike down your law or strike down your action if you are the executive. Yep. Okay? But where you have a situation where in the past they call them unanimous 7 or something like that. And now in this government, I am making this point of fact. It looks as if that the politicians make promises and then the judiciary delivers it. Look at CJ, let me finish. Look at CJ Tokono. Politicians make a promise. Politicians say things. They make it clear. When we get into office, we are coming after you. They get into office and a number of things happen and the kinds of things that they were alluding to happen. Then you look at GN Bank. President Mahama talks at length. Conclusion, all of it is that when we come back, we are going to give back some of these licenses. GM Bank is seen around going back and forth and whatever. By the way, I have no personal problem against them, okay? I just, believe that they had a bad strategy, but that's another matter. Now, he makes those political promises, which may be founded or otherwise. My worry is that then the judiciary tends to, or looks like they are delivering those promises. When a judge gives a judgment, the judgment can be criticized. Actually, it must be criticized. It is advisable that we all look at those things and we speak to them. That GN Bank ruling is no. Let me finish.
It's because that's a whole topic on this.
I'm making the point. The point I am making is that you have situations where a politician makes a promise. And when they make the promise, it looks as if the judiciary delivers the promise. And I'm using GM Bank as an example. That we had the president and co make the promise or restore licenses. The matter goes to court, and then there's a judgment which I can't understand. But it ends up delivering that promise. I am saying all these things because of the suspicions being raised around Sedinam. Okay? People believe she will not see a day in jail and whatever it is. Look, we need to do things that improve or strengthen the confidence in institutions of state. The more of these that happen, the more people believe that our judiciary forgets. The more people believe that our security services forget. We've just had a ruling from the Supreme Court that says that basically the Ghana police or the IGP is essentially a political office. Okay, and that the president can take them in and bring them out anytime. We are moving in a situation where everything becomes part of the political cycle. We will crack this democracy if we continue to do that. And things like Sedinam, things like Ken, and whatever it is, won't happen if we really truly believe in our justice system.
Thank you very much. And I'm running up on this, so just
myself and Richard Anyagba. I mean, just so we just so we put matters in proper perspective. Look, we've had nolle prosequi used in our courts. I recall vividly the trial of Gregory Afoko. Case had completed by Justice Ellen Mensah. Just awaiting judgment. The Republic decided to file a nolle prosequi. That is the only instance that I've seen a criminal trial concluded, awaiting judgment, and the Republic filing a nolle prosequi.
And it's wrong.
Look, I didn't say it is wrong. If you are
that's
thinking,
my point.
And I'm saying that this happened under a president who is noted for the rule of law and the respect for human rights. It was justified, even when it was contested at the Supreme Court. You see, this morning, I've listened to my senior, Kofi Benton. And if you look at the arguments that were postured, it is as though the contract entered into by SEDI, Ken just came and paid. No, please. For the avoidance of doubt, look, I beg you, I just want to read the records of proceeding, which is founded at volume 3 of the record. This is what transpired. You also knew from your records that the contract for the acquisition of the vehicles had been signed by your predecessor, but not a single cedi had been paid by Maslock. Is that correct? Answer, yes, my lord. This sticker under cross-examination. Answer, yes, my lord. So when the question was put to him, whether or not a single cedi was paid for the 350 buses, his answer was, yes, my lord, nothing was paid. Further question.
Nothing had been paid.
Had been paid then. Further question. Your CEO had testified in this court that they renegotiated the entire contract price.
That's true.
Is that the case? Unfortunately, I cannot speak of my CEO's testimony. Now, question. I am asking you personally. Maslock says that the contract price was renegotiated. Is that the case? Answer. From what the person gave me, yes. So first of all, the contract was renegotiated.
By who?
So what's the point?
You renegotiated the contract.
No, the contract
and
was
so
renegotiated by
your
who?
accusation by the NPP.
So, how could it be?
I mean, oh, sorry. I mean, the government then, sorry. I mean, I've corrected myself. So my point is that it is not like the father just came and paid what the son entered into, by your analogy. No. The father, being a responsible one, said, parties come, let's renegotiate. Prices were knocked down, among other things. Based on the renegotiated thing, you paid for it. Meanwhile, your accusation against the person was that he contracted for and inflated the price.
So the
Pure
issue
contract.
of the inflated price was
Pure contract.
the basis for the renegotiation.
Yes. And now you negotiated and
so my
paid. And
point is,
listen, oh,
does
Sina,
that
Sina,
trans-
Sina,
No, no, I'm
please.
talking to
No,
Abel.
Sina, yeah, you can.
Go ahead.
Sina.
Okay.
It took you 2 years. 2018, that was when you renegotiated and paid for it. Meanwhile, you convicted her on these accusations.
So you want me to clarify?
And so
Okay.
the point let me just conclude. I
No,
beg.
conclude, because it's just...
I'm concluding. So let nobody create the impression. And look, they've given all MPP communicators a communication line. Oh, just say that she inflated the price of this and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, go to the record of proceeding, the cross-examination. It exposes the issues. In fact, the warrant for payment was signed by Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta 2 years after she had left office. That's also not enough. But that's renegotiated. But you see, let me just make this. This morning, my senior Kofi, oh please, I beg you.
You were worried.
I'm not talking to
On this point,
But leave that to the court.
The question
now
is
we are in court, so leave
whether
that
or
to the
not
court.
this particular development actually nullifies the decision that was taken
Yes, leave that.
previously.
No, but that's a different matter. But
Okay.
I'm making the point. Let me also say this. You see, my senior says government promises and the judiciary delivers.
I mean, that is so...
Very serious.
You see, that is please. You see, that is the communication strategy adopted by the MPP.
Hey, what's that?
And the reason why they have adopted that strategy is a very simple one. You see, he made mention, we won't call communicators meeting.
You come.
No, I've been seeing the speaking notes.
I've been waiting for the communicator.
So let me proceed.
So next time, don't go out.
The director of communication is here. I don't think you know what you're talking about.
Don't admit it next time.
I'm running up. You see, when you make such a statement, very stripping, that the government had promised and the judiciary delivered.
I give you 2 examples.
And you liken it to the Tokonu action first, then now proceeded to GN Bank. Senior, with respect, that's going beyond the rules. That's going beyond the acceptable standard.
No, you're wrong.
And I'll explain why. Who in the NDC promised a removal of any Chief Justice? Nobody. Nobody knew that this is how a person will conduct himself, which will form the basis of an impeachment proceeding.
Contrary to a promise to remove a YC.
YC.
Well, it's
But you know,
strategic.
that's another issue.
It's
But
strategic.
So that point ought to be made clear. Nobody promised the removal.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it so happened that it has to happen. And I do know that the person of President Mahama is not a vindictive leader. And he's known that he's never been vindictive. GM Bank. Look, the Bank of Ghana took a decision. Are we by any stretch of any form of legal argument saying that a decision of the Bank of Ghana is sacrosanct? Are we saying that the decision by the Bank of Ghana is not judicially reviewable? Look, I would urge anybody, let's all have the benefit of reading the concurring judgment of my Lord Justice Achibonga.
In which case, specifically?
In the GM Bank case, he makes a very compelling argument in upholding the submission of GM Bank. This is what he referenced. He says that you, government of Ghana, you owe GM Bank X amount of money. That is an asset to GM Bank.
I need to come in.
But it undermines in terms of its liability. No, I'm just saying so that it
It's a
doesn't
matter
look.
that we are not. It's not before
No, but
us.
because he said, oh, but you see,
No, but his reference not in the detail that he's saying. But he's supposed to conclude on the said in that matter.
Yes,
So,
okay.
you have
Okay,
to
then let me conclude.
Let me
No, but
Since when
did you become a moderator?
You know, hold on. When Mr. Bento referenced this GN Bank case,
Yeah.
I clearly indicated it's actually a case on its own we can get into.
Yes.
Because,
But are we
hold on,
getting into
because
it
to
now?
say that, hold on. Because to make that particular point
is agitating?
in concluding that
It's your
it is the judiciary carrying out a particular
you said
statement.
it,
that the
everything
president-
is seen
I'll
to the
conclude.
fact.
Hold on.
I'll
You are not
conclude.
letting me
Let me
explain.
No, I'm sure
So
my
I made
senior.
the point.
I'm sure my
don't go
senior.
into
I made the point and left it because you're not letting me explain.
Exactly.
He
I can
didn't go into
explain.
the matter. So just leave
I
it.
can
So
explain. What he's saying is what I wanted to say differently.
Okay.
But
So if
you
you like,
see,
let me make my
Alfred,
point.
Alfred, let me
Can we
conclude.
allow him to make his point?
Now, let me make
Alfred, let me
Why
conclude.
is he
He didn't make his point.
You know,
and
just
just
let me
clear.
conclude. I beg
Let me
you.
finish my
Alfred,
point.
just 2 minutes.
No, 1 minute.
I wasn't that.
No.
Let me conclude on this critical issue of the GM Bank, because you see,
No. You see, so because you have already established that point and made it.
Senior,
Senior,
let me just read a portion and let's let your viewers.
I made the point. Let me explain myself then. Because he's taking my point off. But let me talk.
But you
Let
see,
me make my point.
He
Let me
created
finish.
a
want us to discuss a case,
punchline.
Let that be known.
But the government
Let me explain what I'm saying.
But that's his
Now
view.
let me see.
That is his
And-
view.
And you see, that is what I'm saying. That you see, he's my senior at the bar. The received learning,
that point.
our received learning, is to put matters in proper perspective,
So let me
law
do
and
that.
fact. So let me say this, and I'll just reference my Lord Justice Achibonga, and allow
When he
fair-minded
finishes,
people,
I'll say it.
and see whether this is a judiciary delivering or this is sound reasoning. This is what, in our view, it will not be fair to declare an entity insolvent just because its operating cash flow cannot meet its debt when they fall due, even though it has assets, including realizable assets that far exceeded its liabilities. If allowed to realize these assets could help it pay its due debt and continue to operate as a growing concern. So even though sections 1, 2, 3, 4 appears to give the regulator an option as to the two tests stated above, the regulator, to be fair, should apply both tests in determining whether a bank or a deposit-taking institution is insolvent. This position finds support in so and so. Now, this is what they conclude. From the above analysis, it is our respective view that there is evidence on record to establish that government and its MDAs owed Gold Coast advisors huge sums of money, part of which was assigned to the third respondent, GN Savings and Loans. Therefore, forming part of its debt owed to it by government and its MDA. Government debt, in our view, are the safest or one of the safest to have on a company's book. being a government debt, the same is easily realizable as compared to debt owed to individuals, and same should be relevant and taken into account by a regulator. Now, this is where he concludes, and I'll end here. It will be absurd, irrational, and unjust for the government and its MDAs to owe a bank or a specialized deposit-taking institution to the extent that it affects its liquidity and working capital ratio of that same. And the same regulator, based on that, proceeds to declare such a savings agency insolvent.
Thank you.
How is this done again? Sound reasoning.
Let me do that, please. Please. Let me clarify. So here's the point. I stand by my point. Now, the definition of insolvency is a financial state where an individual or company can no longer pay their debts as they
Is it ChatGPT?
Please. Just check whether as they come due. Okay, he's waded into the area of law and finance. Now, when we talk about insolvency, it is not about the assets you have. It's about liquidity. All right. When we say your debts as they come due, you can have $1 billion in assets. Okay. Now, note that Bank of Ghana is independent and not the government of Ghana. So here you have the GN Bank, you have Bank of Ghana, and you have government of Ghana. It's like you, me, and him. You and hold on, give me time. Right. You borrow money from me and say, I will pay you in 3 months. If I don't pay you, take my shirt. 3 months come, you don't pay me. And you tell me, oh, Ahiagba owes me money, so I'll pay you. 6 months come, you don't pay me. You say, Ahiagba has not paid me. If he pays me, I'll pay you. 1 year comes, then I take your shirt. Because that's the agreement between us. Then you go to court, and then the judge says that, no, I shouldn't take your shirt because Ahiagba owes you. That is sophistry. Sophistry is when you try to make something look like what it is not on certain things. Now, let's be clear. It was not the place of the judge to decide that because somebody owes somebody, and I'm criticizing the judgment, because somebody owes somebody, the Bank of Ghana should not do his job. Note, and we can go into it ad absurdum. But my point is clear. My point is that judgment was present.
There's a fact on record.
What he read is actually the point which I am making, that it does not fall to the judge to say. Because in all finance, it's not about assets, it's about liquidity, especially in banking.
Please, and
you have
indicated this matter is not going to end
assets.
It's not necessarily.
Why
Go and check with finance people.
This matter is not going to end exactly.
Go and check with finance people.
Yes. So, you see, so thank you. You see, I make the point.
Be mindful that I'm also here.
Yes. Alfred. It is a fact.
There was a response and a rebuttal to specific issues that Edudzi Tamaklo raised. So and that's why I'm giving the time. We'll move on to the next issue.
So I go back to this fact, and I say that the ballot box is an instrument of hope. You make promises to people, people hold on to that promise, they vote for you, you come to power. When you are not delivering and we are telling you, you are looking different sideways, backways, and you are telling us that this has happened here, this has happened here. The point, that's exactly, just allow me. You did that before. What I'm talking, just allow me. And you allow Edudzi to flow. Okay? Edudzi can intervene, but you just let me flow. Because earlier when I was establishing this pattern of behavior by this government, shielding its people and persecuting its political opponents, Edudzi came and he didn't answer that question. He didn't dispute it. His only argument against it is that, oh, MPP will prosecute people, but the laws are there when people go wrong. You apply the law. So if MPP apply the law, we have not done anything wrong. Now, he has not been able to show any reason why President Kufuor, under him, not one single MPP person was prosecuted. But that was his point, that under Kufuor, that we didn't prosecute any of our persons. And the question I ask is that, after Kufuor was 8 years of NDC, did NDC prosecute anybody they thought that Kufuor's administration should have prosecuted? That we didn't do. They had 8 years after that. Did they? If there was the evidence. You understand? So the point is that apply the law fairly. Now what you are doing is that you are not going to. And this is that justification for why they are clearing their people. His justification is that under Kufuor, nobody prosecuted an MPP person. But after him, you had 8 years. You didn't get anybody to be prosecuted because nobody committed any wrong, according to you and according to the law. Wow. Now you are establishing to us that, so because of that, under you, when you have promised, chapter 6 of your manifesto, you said that you will do oral. The first order of business is to do oral. And oral, you didn't define it to limit it to some people. It's oral in pursuit of state interest or state assets. Any loot, whether it be NDC or whoever, you want to recover it. But then now you are directing that to other people. Only. And then you are clearing your people. This is a serious matter because you haven't been able to answer it. Okay? So the point is that when the case of Sedinam has come up, and it's painful that we're talking about it, but you see, it's a question of responsibility. This is what you promised. This is what you must deliver. This new argument that lawyer Kwebu is making about Ken Ofori-Atta pay the money, I'm lost. So does that mean that the intent, the conspiracy, the idea to commit that crime didn't exist?
Which crime?
I'm saying that the
person
has been convicted. The person has been convicted. So it's a crime. But you see, the person has been convicted. It's a crime. So what is it? Is that an allegation?
No, hold on. The
conviction. Where is coming from with this pay?
A crime has been established. A crime has been established.
So
a crime has been established.
But you see, it's an obligation on you to pay. Somebody has done the transaction. Of course, what about all? Yes, well, all these PPP things that we inherited.
Why did you renegotiate?
All these.
That's where. No, hold on.
Stop being surprised.
Don't do that.
Stop being surprised.
You see, that point established about the wrong that was detected.
Yes.
A new government comes in and renegotiate.
It's an afterthought matter. Don't engage this matter as to water down the conversation. Let's stay on point. Let's stay on point. An individual has been tried and convicted on a matter. Before us is the conviction and the counts on which she was convicted. Okay, no. And that matter is one of it. Anyway, but you see, I just want to make the point that on that matter, there's a new line of reasoning they are bringing. It is only to pave way for what I've told you would happen, which is that they will end up giving her bail. And I'm shocked that when Martin Kpebu said that he's going to keep open mind on Sedinam getting bail, I was shocked that he didn't say anything. Because here, we are not talking about any ordinary bail. We are talking about bailing somebody who has run away, who is a fugitive, and who did not come back voluntarily.
Be careful of your words. Be careful of your words. Tomorrow, if Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta comes to this country, he is entitled as a citizen of this country to apply for bail, and the court can look at it and say,
wait, let me come.
But you are wrong.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
He's not entitled to a bail.
What have you entitled to?
He's not entitled.
Has he been convicted?
He's not entitled to a bail.
No, has he been charged?
No, bail are in two forms: pending trial and pending appeal.
No, so it's not the same as
I'm talking about.
It's post-conviction.
It's allowed.
Wait.
But I'm saying
you are mixing things. You are mixing things.
So here's the point.
Ken is not the same as Sedinam.
What is the issue?
I'm coming to the point.
It's not the same.
Right.
Who said it?
Has Ken been tried?
Hold on.
Is it not
coming to the point?
The microphones are
supposed to be.
Okay, so you see,
that's not the point.
Gentlemen, hold on. Let's maintain.
No, you said
that should be on record.
You see,
I said it's not the same thing.
Yes,
okay, I'm just trying to. I'll follow you. They are disrupting
the whole government.
Let me hold on.
Exactly, by law.
I am surprised.
Eduji, Prof, please. Now, the element of bail, if in an event where she's granted bail, is that wrong in a sense? And then also,
in her particular case,
in the case of Ken Ofori-Atta, if he is granted bail, is it going to be wrong?
Ken and Sedinam are not on the same keel. They're two different separate matters.
You have
the NDC,
you have to separate them for convenience.
No.
Convenience.
But you are a lawyer. You are a lawyer. When you put Sedinam,
I asked a question.
Yes. So he is a lawyer. If you put Sedinam on the left and Ken on the right, and you are trying to connect them, there is nothing that connects them. Ken has not been charged. He's not been convicted.
He has been charged.
He's been charged.
He's not been convicted.
Right.
Okay, of any.
So we
any
draw that
offense.
statement that he has not been charged.
But is that the same? Is that the same? So here's the point. They are not the same.
Yeah, not the same.
At all. Now, the specific question of whether,
But they cannot be.
you said 5 minutes, I've then used 1 minute. So the specific question, now, the specific question
I think we should move
of
to
whether,
the Wontumi matter.
But you have gone to talk about
We should
GNA
move- we
and you don't
should-
want
we
to finish
should
this
move
one.
to the Wontumi
Alfred,
matter.
the question about whether Sedinam
provide
should get
independent-
bail or not, in her specific case, I say that
Can we move on to the Wontumi
it
matter?
will make mockery.
Richard Anyagba is
I'm
now
coming.
doing
It
a
will make
filibuster.
mockery of our judicial system if this government orchestrates, which is what they are trying to do, orchestrate and give her bail. One, because this is a person who was given
This
bail.
is completely
Please.
unfortunate.
I-
There's no
Oh,
orchestration. The rule
but
of
that
law.
is, I have
the rule
shown
of
you
law-
a pattern
The rule of
where
law.
you cannot give
No, but the
bail,
rule of law is
where
working.
you cannot give
What's
bail,
that?
you file knowledge to control him. But where you can give bail, you orchestrate and give bail. So everything that is unfolding before us in the Sedinam case, and everything LBG was doing this morning
demonstrable
is to find
waywardness.
grounds. And Martin
Demonstrable
Pebu is a
in
chief
this
architect
submission.
sitting where? Where is he? Where is he in the country?
Well,
or in the
I will
world?
tell you.
And the point is that I beg you.
You are
Very
making your
important.
point.
Very important point.
You still
Otherwise,
trying to make
Alfred,
your
Alfred,
done.
Alfred,
You have
no, but let me conclude.
exhausted.
Alfred,
I have to go for a quick
let me
break.
just conclude.
I'll go for this quick break.
What do you want to say?
Get into
You've been very wayward in this
His lawyer is here. Gentlemen, hello, gentlemen, thank you.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now. In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abinanya Kwasumini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
us is changing. Not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the race that once arrived on time don't come anymore.
No, gentlemen, no, we're please. Welcome back. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279 all across the world on 3news.com. Also on the Voice of London Radio, as always, proudly brought to you by GASEM, the nation builder, and also Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And good morning. Evans Ibn Samba Laura says, please, if indeed the judge in the Sedina case wrote the judgment on the basis of what Eduji Tamaklo explained, then there may be the need for the ongoing review of the Constitution to allow room for some judges to publicly explain their judgments. Mm-hmm. You say, thank you. Mm-hmm. In fact, I've got quite a number of you. Vance says...
The explanation is in there, right?
Thank you very much for your message. In fact, there are quite a number of them pointing to a statement that Andy Appiah Kubi made. And that leads us to the next issue. I promise I'll read all the messages. There are quite a number of them. So it's being sorted out so I can have the full complement of it. But lawyer Andy Appiah Kubi, this week, you applied for a plea deal with the state on behalf of your client, Bernard Enchu-Botiako, Chairman Wontumi, correct?
Yes.
What was the basis for that?
I applied for initiation of plea negotiations, and I want to put it in a proper perspective, so that we have not as yet even met to commence the negotiation. But under the law, as you have rightly put there, at any point in the course of the prosecution, it is either the prosecutor himself, the court may direct, the accused person may also initiate, or the lawyer for the accused person may initiate. So all these people, I have elected to initiate.
I see.
And my
So this is section 162
yes,
of Act 30. That's what you are referencing.
Yes. Act 30 as amended.
As amended.
Because this whole plea bargaining is an act itself that has been amended, attached to the original Act 30 to make it Act 30 as amended with the plea bargaining act.
So you mean Act 1079 is the current reflection of the plea bargaining act?
Plea bargaining has been annexed to the original.
I see.
And therefore, I'm coming, and my presumption is that when we commence the negotiation, we will be asking for a return of an agreement that will withdraw the charges in court, pursuant to the agreed positions of the parties.
I see.
And then this be filed before the court, for the court to adopt, and upon adoption, withdraw the matter in court, and then we are all home and dry, and then we will respond to the terms of the agreement.
I see, but Section 35 of the Court Act also has some provisions on plea bargaining,
Right.
correct?
35 of the Court Act has preconditions for the negotiation and adoption. And it is not consistent with this one.
1079.
1079.
Okay.
And in law, conflict of laws, when it happens that the two laws are conflicting, the later in time takes precedence over the earlier. And that is why we are relying on the later one, which is the Plea Bargaining Act,
which is the current reflection of the law as we have it. So subject to Section 162, and I needed to establish it before I go into it, subject to Section 162B, a person charged with a criminal offense may at any time before judgment at any time
Then
before
before
judgment.
judgment.
And the emphasis is on this point. Negotiate with the Attorney General for a plea agreement.
Yes.
To reduce an offense charge to a lesser offense. B, to withdraw a charge against an accused person, or to reduce the punishment for an offense charged within the law that prescribed the punishment. And then 162B, to a plea agreement under subsection 1 may provide a sentence or a range of sentences to be recommended to the court, the payment by the accused person of compensation to a victim of the offense, or C, the making of restitution by the accused person with the prior consent of the accused person.
Right.
So
which
which of the options are you really looking at? Because those who are criticizing are saying
that you must plead admission of the offense before, and those who are criticizing, and that's why I'm referring them to these provisions upon which we rely in initiating the plea agreement, our pre-negotiations. So you have rightly put it there that B says that when these are the outcomes, possible outcomes. So when we start the negotiation, it is a point of filing our terms that we will indicate which of them we have agreed to choose and which outcome we expect the court to adopt.
But in going into this plea deal, which outcome out of the many options that I've read are you?
As I told you before, our focus is on doing the deal, returning an agreement that will withdraw the charges for us to have a clean slate.
You are seeking a withdrawal of the charges against Chairman Wontumi in the Exim Bank case.
Yes, so that is the motive behind our application.
But if an agreement is reached, we'll still have to go back to the courts.
Of course.
For the courts
to adopt.
Once
we are in court, before anything can be done at all, if our agreement is reached and we file it in court, it is the court that will adopt it and then return it as its judgment. So anyhow, it is the court that will make the necessary pronouncements.
If you are seeking to have all the charges dropped against your client in this plea agreement, you believe in the innocence of your client right from the get-go.
Well, it's not
Why
about
didn't you just allow the process to play out in court?
No.
Rather than resorting to this plea deal. That's another question
this
to those
is the
who are
law.
criticizing you.
This is the law, and the law is available to every accused person. And it is for you to elect your which of the laws you will rely on. And it is also your duty to negotiate with the intention of the outcome that you prefer. And it is also your right to rely on any of those provisions. And it is the court, and pursuant to your agreed position, which will come through the negotiated plea agreement, it is the court that will also adopt your agreement and make a pronouncement and bring finality to the whole process.
I see. But if the prosecution also says, well, you are seeking that the charges against your client be dropped, we also want your client to pay the 30 million plus interest.
Leave that one to the negotiation. It is because I don't want us to discuss the issues in detail when we have not even met. Exactly. But when we meet, then these issues will come. All these speculations in the air, most of them are incorrect. And indeed, they are even not referring to the application that I submitted. And the figures being mentioned here and there, they are nowhere in the application I submitted. But I have decided not to even concentrate or respond to them because we have not started. And I take them as speculations. So when we start, maybe we will discuss even possibilities and figures. But we haven't gotten there. So let us not preempt those meetings. And then let's see how we independently go into those discussions and see what can be negotiated on and what we bring out as agreed negotiated positions as that which we expect the court to adopt.
I see. And I'll bring you on this.
Yes.
The expectation of the lawyers is that one of the outcomes, that is dropping charges against Chairman Wontumi, is what they're expecting. But then if definitely that's not going to be one that the prosecution will also agree to.
It is not impossible. It is not at all impossible that charges will be dropped. You need to know something, that in every prosecution, there is stress and costs on every side. The prosecution has to make their case beyond reasonable doubt. That is a very high level. And there's stress and cost. They have to prepare, they have to come back. And really, even though it's a state that is paying, it's a lot of money and resource. And then there's stress and cost on the side of the defense too. I mean, he has to pay his lawyers and everything that has to happen. And if you make a mistake, you are going to go to jail. Now, the thing about plea bargain is this. It is a mutual agreement which hopes to lessen...
Senior, give me 1 minute. You see, in all these negotiations, one thing that comes to mind is that it is the worst form of agreement is better than the best form of judgment. Because again, if you go into agreement and you agree on something, even though it will not be probably the best, the relationships beyond that is better than when you go to court and then you get a judgment that pronounces one as victor and the other as vanquished. It affects relationships going beyond the judgment.
I see. Okay,
yeah, he's right, but that's the assumption that you will lose. A judgment that acquits you is really very good. But the point here, the general point, is it's tactical. It's a maneuver. It is something that, you see, when you go to court, it's warfare. You are going up against somebody. It's like war. Tactical means you take a certain, maneuver, which is usually aimed at reducing cost on both sides and the potential liability, stress, cost, resources, etc. It is not an admission of guilt. So note, there are plea bargains which are no guilt bargains.
Yes, especially in this one.
Okay. There are plea bargains to which are admissions of guilt. Okay. And it leads to reduced sentence. And both of them, even if the guilt is admitted, does not mean the person is guilty. Let me give you an example. It happens a lot in the US. Because there's something they call systemic racism. If you're a black man and you are put before a court on certain charges, the statistics show that the chances that you will be convicted are very high, even depending on where you are. So there are people who sometimes have not committed a crime, but they are arrested and put before court. Now, if they go through the trial, they are looking at 15 years in jail. But if they admit what they haven't done, they are looking at 2 years.
And sometimes you don't even have to admit.
Yes, sometimes that's no guilt.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm talking about the guilt one. No guilt is one thing, but this is the more difficult one, where you haven't committed a crime, but you actually admit the guilt. Because you have a system where 90% of the people who are put before court in this area, okay, on this charge, end up, in jail. And if you go through the trial, you are looking at 15 years.
You take that as insurance.
If you admit, even though you haven't done it, 2 years you go in, you are out. So I'm saying this is one of the legal tactical maneuvers that lawyers and their clients have to look at, especially in the case of Wontumi, where there is a financial.
No, please. Yes, go ahead.
Especially in the case of Wontumi, where there's a financial issue here. It says, oh, you went to take this loan, and they'll be accused of some, all kinds of things around it. And it's money. At the end of the day, I'm not saying this is what they are saying, but at the end of the day, instead of going through 2 years of trial, whatever it is, if I can pay you the money, okay, let's sit there and see what we can do about it. And I'm not talking about the details of it, but I'm saying these are some of the things that we think about. Now, Wontumi can choose to go through the trial, assert his innocence, and actually come out innocent. He can also go through the trial found guilty, but can also save everybody and just pay the money and go away. Now, in the interest of the state, if Wontumi is convicted and put in jail for 10 years, and we feed him, clothe him, give him free medical care and everything, and still the state doesn't get anything, in a sense we have lost. Right. Even though there's a justice aspect of it. Okay. But also for Wontumi, if he goes into jail for, let's say, 10 years or whatever it is, maybe if he spends the 10 years working, he will make more money than what he's paying. So why there is money at stake? That's why even in criminal matters, there's restitution, there are all these plea bargain things, so that at least you can get some money back, okay, and then find a way, that is mutually acceptable. So people should understand it in the term that it's not an admission of guilt, except Wontumi and his lawyer agree that, okay, we are guilty. And then they all come out with a situation where it's mutually beneficial. I remember in the recent past, there was a huge uproar about one of those things happening. I won't mention the names. But it was because of a misunderstanding, and people thought that it was the rich people getting scot-free. No. there is always mutual benefit on both sides whenever there's a plea bargain. And if the plea bargain is unconscionable, or it is something that is beyond the pale, the judge can refuse it. So know that the state is always protected, first by the prosecutor, who is an employee of the state, and two, by the judge, who is looking at the bigger justice issue. All right? So it's a proper thing.
And three, the accused person's rights.
Oh, well, yes. But
you see, and Mr. Ayagba, on that particular point, it's an important point that Mr. Bento makes about how this is interpreted and then the possible outcome. Because the politics of things as well as play, and I'm sure that's why you referenced what the outcome means and how that impacts on both parties. Because you have
and
one
again,
section...
the conflict of law situation and
precisely.
the earlier law that is known to the public, that is what is confusing
that
them
if
to
you're
understand
going in a
that
plea deal, you have to plead guilty.
Yes.
That's why you are being criticized. That if you really believe in the innocence of your client, why are you going on a plea deal? Because that's an admission of guilt.
Which is what I'm explaining.
That is the misinformation to the public. You understand? But I have not responded to that because then you waste too much time in your responses. But once there is an existing law upon which I will rely in my plea negotiations, I will just pay attention to and focus on what I'm doing.
Oh, but you should educate the public because you have the chance.
No, that is what we are doing. In fact, many times when I have had the opportunity, I have also given that indication. The last time I was on your sister station, I brought even the law to read the sessions to align with what we are doing. That is what we are doing. You understand?
This morning.
That is what we are doing. But if you are not careful, you spend all the time responding to
I think the matter is clear, and that's why I'm bringing the politics of things because the director of communications of the MPP and majority of those who are criticizing are members of the MPP who believe who believe that what you have done is an admission of guilt. They would have rather you go on to the end of this particular the legal conclusion of this case.
Yes.
Instead of rather coming in with the plea deal. Yes.
Alfred, I have maintained, I think in the same day this came out, that when I said that it's not an admission of guilt. The law is there, and I think that the business of getting people to understand is important, and that's what we have done here. And Kofi has been very clear in saying that it's not admission of guilt. My senior has said so, so it is clear.
Yes.
Okay, it is clear. Now, even so, it's still under sub judice the matter.
Yes, so we
won't go into it. But I'm just saying that
I'm very mindful of it.
Yes. So the look and feel of this Wound to Me matter, if you take it and strictly put it in a straitjacket, and you want to see if this is a classic corruption case, it doesn't really stand up to that test. But meanwhile, because it's political, you talk about it that way. Because one private person goes to take a loan to do A, B, C, D, and that is transactional matter. Yes, it's transactional matter. But I'm happy about the explanation of the lawyer in telling us what option he's going for. As part of the plea bargain, the options he has is looking for a withdrawal. Is that not the case?
That's the case.
Which then is not the same as you're going to admit guilt and all. And the reason I was saying that if you look at this case with the Exim Bank, it's not your classic corruption case because it's a transaction. You can say now in this matter that, look, I owe the bank and I will pay. That's it. Where's the crime? You understand? So I think that since it is an evolving matter, let's allow for them to engage with the state, have whatever agreement they can have, and then we'll live with the fact. If not for want of news, if not for want of good political, happenings for the government, this is not a matter to be discussed because it's premature.
Yes.
Well,
I'm coming. Not you.
But we need to educate the public.
Yes, but I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
It's the angle of the conversation.
No, I'm coming. I'm not blaming you for putting it out. I'm blaming the NDC, because this is supposed to be a conversation between the lawyers.
To invite them to think like.
Oh no, but LBG has his name, and then when I say NDC, you will come in when I refer to it.
Don't invite them.
But you see, so this is supposed to be a conversation between the lawyers. But because the NDC wants to appear as if they are fighting corruption, they quickly want to leak this to the media, and we are discussing a premature issue. It's a premature matter. So let's wait, let them go, have the conversations, and then what agreement they get to, then we would have a conversation about that. But for me, if you ask me, this is not your classic corruption issue, but the NDC having failed abysmally in dealing with corruption relative to their people, they are trying to just scatter around and bring things to say so and so and so. Now they are rationalizing for us, Alfred, they are rationalizing for us that it is okay to give bail to somebody who jumped bail earlier. But you allow LBG to go to GN Bank when we have not even brought it for conversation.
It was just a response to
my time. So let me say. So what I'm saying is that this matter is premature. Oh no, we are not explaining. You are the one explaining. So I'm just saying that this won't to be case. I think the conversation before us is premature.
Okay.
Let's leave it here. The real matter to be discussed when they reach some agreement will come, and then we'll engage it.
Yes, just 1 minute. In fact, in this matter, there are people who are accusing me variously, and there is somebody who is even saying that I'm fighting with a flag bearer of NPP, and the wife is insulting me. I have not seen the wife the whole year.
I haven't seen Samira Bawumia.
I haven't seen Samira the whole year.
What? No, what does?
I have not.
What does that got to do with anything?
It's not her character to insult. So just ignore it. It's not.
Again,
just ignore it.
There is somebody says that he hasn't won a case ever in his life.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago, I took a very beautiful judgment in my favor. Even 2 days ago, there was this.
You should come and see your car that you bought.
Oh, please.
Out of the judgment.
You don't have to judge that matter.
So let's assure that we will do it when it is right.
Thank you.
And we have done it many times before. And I have had commendations from even Supreme Court judges.
You don't have to prove yourself. I mean, your record is out there.
I'm sorry.
Lawyer Andy Apiakubi is known to be a good lawyer.
No.
That has never been in doubt.
Yes.
But you see, as lawyers, sometimes we pick cases that are difficult.
Yes.
They are just difficult. And like I always say.
And we do our best.
Yes. And I always say, you see, we are professionals. You want to provide the best of professional care.
Service to your clients.
It's just like somebody not well, emergency situation, the person is rushed to the hospital. The doctor will try everything based on the Hippocratic Oath or whatever they call it, to try to give life back to the person. And I've always maintained that the doctor is next to God. After that, then the lawyer. Then we are going. So there are three noble professions.
Please.
You're getting yourself into a bind.
I said, oh, wait.
Who told the lawyer?
Calm down. There are three.
Just 1 second, calm down.
There are three noble.
You see the things we have been suffering. See the thing we are suffering.
There are three noble professions: divinity, medicine, and law. That's not in doubt. Okay. Later we'll come. But you let me go to the substantive matter. I think that we shouldn't confuse a few things. You see, the Attorney General investigators have investigated a matter. The matter that they have investigated, they have come to a conclusion that where they sit and the evidence they have, there has been a commission of a crime. And that crime is a crime of fraud. Now, based on their painstaking investigation, they have formulated criminal charges, I think about 4 counts of fraud against Mr. Bernard Entwibo Siako, also known as Chairman Wontumi. Now, from where the prosecution sits, the kind and the quality of evidence that they have is enough to ensure that the court will come to the conclusion that there had been wrongdoing. That is the view of the prosecution. Now, defense led by Malene Senior Andy Apiakubi is also of the opinion that no, in fact, you applied for bail for him.
Yes, I did.
Which bail was admitted.
Yes.
He's on bail. One of the fundamental principles of law is the presumption of innocence. In fact, it is on the basis of that presumption that you anchor a bail application. Rightly so, like we always say, facts put before the court do not constitute evidence unless admitted in evidence. But at this material moment, there had been an extraordinary step that had been taken, also founded by law. That is a plea negotiation, a kicked in. Now, you see, there are two schools of thought on these matters. That a smart accused person, knowing that when convicted for a charge of fraud, the maximum sentence may be even up to 15, 20 years, can say that, you know what is it? It's about money. The whole fraud ends up with money. So you know what? I want to give you the money back. But that does not also claim the fact that there's an allegation of fraud. So usually two schools of thought. That the mere fact that you, the accused, have initiated that process means that you know that your chance of survival are very low. And therefore, the smart thing for you to do under the circumstance is to water down. That's one school of thought.
The other one.
Another school of thought is the opinion that, well, you know what, to save all of us our time. And you know, usually, when discoveries are done, and you see the weight of evidence that is coming against you. I'm coming. But you see, you went through the criminal investigative process. So you definitely will know what was on earth. We know where the dead bodies are. Defense and prosecution. And so you come to the conclusion and say, you know what? This trial is going to be fully documentary. What is the anchor of the prosecution case of fraud? Maybe I did some documentation, I made some representation, they are documentary in nature, my signatures are all over the place. If these things are admitted in evidence, it may create problem for me. So let me do a plea. At least it will water down the potential impact on this.
And of course, the courts are national institutions.
Yeah.
And the presence of a lawyer in court makes you an officer of the court.
Yes.
So sometimes, in a national situation like that, in the interest of national reconciliation and national progress,
Senior.
Sometimes
Senior, you have made your point. You can come in with a short rebuttal. Senior, the point
you
I
were
am
given opportunity to speak.
I told him
some of the decisions you take in the national interest.
Okay. You see, the most important thing is that the issue of national interest should not even come here.
Oh, please.
Prosecution is a public policy tool. It's to achieve a certain outcome. Look, what was the NDC's promise? Operation Recover All Loots. Recovering of loot may come with other consequences, but the primary focus is to recover the loot. And so if there's an avenue to recover that loot, first of all, it serves the public good, one. If there are other consequences that flows, it's an added on. And so where I sit, and I'll tell you an example. When myself and my senior were representing now Attorney General in the ambulance matter, the company, Big C, offered to take the ambulances back. Listen carefully. Take the ambulances back and refund the state, the money to the state.
You mean the finance minister now?
Yeah, the current finance minister. Yeah. But guess what happened? When Big C offered to refund the money and take the ambulances, the state said, unless they see Atufo saying, they won't allow.
Unless you see Ato.
Yes.
But Ato was in Ghana.
No. When I say see, unless he's part of the plea, they won't. And we as lawyers for Ato, we say we have a solid case. He is clean, as white as snow. So we are not going to be part of any plea. And that is why you notice that the plea in the Ato matter never worked. Because even though Big C offered to take their ambulances back and refund the money, the Republic said, what?
Yeah, but BC was it a party to the suit?
No, I'm coming.
Was it a party?
No. Senior, I'm coming, please.
Because the law is explicit.
The point at that time was that they said, Big C, you are the ultimate benefit. The money went to Big C.
Yes, but was Big C charged?
I'm just coming. Big C.
No, I'm trying to correct him in the law.
No.
The law identifies the people who can come to court.
Big C. Japa was the agent.
You should stop this.
So, in the course of that matter, the point I am making is that Ato and his lawyers took a principled position that I am clean. I did no wrong. I am not going to be part of any plea. Simple. And so that is why people are saying that, if in the past somebody can take...
I need to correct you on this. Because the law doesn't allow any third party to jump in with an application for plea. The law doesn't allow that.
I am making my point. I am making my point.
So there was no application for plea. There was no. In the case of Big C.
No, there was. I was a lawyer in the matter. What are you talking about?
So who made the application?
Who was the agent of Big C?
But was he charged?
Yes, Richard Jakpa was the second accused.
Okay.
What are you saying?
He was the second accused.
That's all. That's why I said you should hold on.
You relax.
Relax. As a company couldn't
relax. Today I've been very charitable to you. I've been very charitable. Where I had planned going,
yes,
it's okay. You let me just make my point. So my point is simple. When you take that step, it sends a message. And so the people who say that it is because you have seen the potential, that is why you've taken this extra, you can't blame them.
You can't.
You can't blame them.
That because you are saying that Wontumi will lose the case?
Yes,
that's why
you see,
gone for this
it's an opinion they are entitled to. They may be wrong.
You mean out of ignorance?
It cannot be out of ignorance. Yeah. Because these are, you see, what the plea agreement had come, what it shows is that at least the Attorney General has a case that is defendable. Contrary to the initial claim that this is quote unquote witch hunting or what have you, this extraordinary step creates or gives credence to the fact that at least there's some modicum, of evidence to suggest a certain wrongdoing. If not, you don't take this extraordinary step. But you see, I have always said that one of the innovative interventions in Act 30 is this issue about plea. Again, like I said, all the work I've done is through criminal defense. These things usually come to help us as defense lawyers. It will save you time, it will save you cost, it will save you everything. And sometimes I think that usually these things are highlighted only because they involve prominent people. Do you know the number of plea deals that are done every day? Thousands of them. In fact, somebody can do an RTI to the Attorney General to find out from the time of the amendment of Act 30 to now, how many plea agreements have been done? Countless number of them. In fact, I was in court on many instances where plea, basic stealing, he has stolen from his boss, he had done this. The
ones that involve politically exposed persons.
That is what comes to the headline. But you see, this law has helped ordinary citizens of this country without the usual highlights.
Okay.
I strongly believe that consistent with the NDC campaign promise and aura, if at the end of the day, the allegation is that X amount of money could not have passed, but for this false representation, on that basis, you are bringing the money back. It is consistent with the oral principle.
See. Thank you. Now,
Just a quick question. A quick question. Then he can answer. So, you see,
we speak before.
No, question.
No.
I'm going to
question. So the question here, the question I want to ask is that, this won't make it. Me, the way I see it, and Edward, I just want to do this, and then Senior too. I don't see it as a classic corruption case.
Yes.
The bank itself could have sued him. The bank,
And they
Exim
did
Bank.
sue. They did
Yes,
sue.
they can do that. Right?
They sued.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
sued.
So we could have just
bank
gone
sued,
on
the
that
bank
path.
sued, is it
The
not?
banks
Sued and we responded and they withdrew.
So that has already been done.
So I'm saying that. So that path would have just been because then
No,
so that the
you
whole
see-
business
but you
of this
see,
is a
I have-
corruption.
let's not go into
could have
the
just
very
been gone.
Senior,
But that's
you see,
I'm mindful of the boundaries of our conversation.
Senior Andy, because this is a live matter, and because of the borderline of contempt among others, we are limiting ourselves for now
To the processes.
plea negotiation,
Yes.
Which is
and at this critical moment, that determination is permissible by law.
okay. Perfect.
Enter into it.
Now,
that law has also benefited ordinary people.
My only intervention is just how we're trying to make it a corruption
reason why
I don't
I
think it
wanted-
is in the
Yeah,
true sense.
we are
It's not a
recovering.
corruption.
We are
It's the
recovering.
matter of the withdrawal of his services as
We are
a lawyer,
recovering.
and you tied into this. That's why I wanted.
Okay. The
Counsel,
withdrawal, yeah.
Counsel, you have always been for the recovery part of whatever oral cases are being tried now. That you would prefer, if there's any financial consideration in any case, that should be the focus. Recover the money and before anything else. Correct?
Absolutely, so I can say. Absolutely, because what shall it profit a man to throw somebody in jail and then he doesn't give us one farthing so that he keeps all the money? Looking at our state of development, the way hospital with our beds, I still can't believe the Afariwa hospital has not been opened, etc. I would take the money any day and possibly with some interest so that we can get beds and other equipment to open Afariwa hospital. And it will save more lives than just throwing one person in custody or in jail. No, let's not forget this, and ADG made part of the point. After assuming best case scenario, Wontumi is able to get a withdrawal of the charges. That will not be the end of the accountability. After that, I can come and sit on TV3, and then when any matter concerning Wontumi comes up, I'll say, Wontumi who held our money illegally for some years, and finally had to be coerced to pay, more or less, after MPP left office. If MPP hadn't left, he was never going to return it, etc. So Wontumi who illegally kept the taxpayers' money, etc. So the point I'm making is that we'll continue to name and shame him, stigmatize him for the rest of his life, and it will even affect his family. So that is punishment enough.
I see.
I keep saying that nowadays we don't see it on air that much. But when we were growing up, one thing a lot of parents used to tell children was that, hey, if you get any police case, no woman will marry you, etc. So to date, you still find vestiges of it in our society. For such a case, returning the money, the stigma Wontumi will suffer. So for me, the value is the same. The value is the same.
See, but Counsel, how do you respond to those who also say that, well, you prefer that monies should be recovered as a preference over and above, throwing people in jail? But then again, will that be enough deterrence and punishment for those who divert state funds for private use or are engaged in acts of corruption, that you can take state funds, use it for whatever purpose, and when it's time for accountability, all you're asked to do is just refund the money, and go scot-free? Is that enough deterrence to corruption?
Absolutely.
Really?
I'll tell you 150%. That's my opinion. Let's go back. So can say, let's begin to count the cases. Look at Atuesian's case. You see that case, he paid part of the money. Then they said there was some land. I don't know what happened. Long story short, If we had pursued the land, etc., I keep saying that money, we're going to be due more than 10 million Ghana, right? Or thereabout. You know what that would have done? And I keep saying, so you think today, Atuesien is free? He's not free. There are certain transactions he cannot go near. For the rest of his life, he's stigmatized. Stigmatized, even talking, leave out the conviction, but I mean the part he repaid the money. So I want us to remember how Eduji is referred to the Japa case where Godfrey Dami was caught doing the unethical things. You see how the unethical things influenced him to refuse the money, and in the end we lost. If we had received the 2.4 million Big C was offering, no, it's not Ghana cedis, so euros. Is it initially they said 2.1 million, right? And
yes.
they were willing to go up. You know what that would have done? So I'm telling you that for me, and not just me, other people, a lot of people think like me. When you take the money back, it doesn't mean the person is innocent. Okay. We will make the point minimum. You illegally took government money, and years later, but for it was a change in government that enabled us to collect it from you. And for some people, they will even call it a conviction. So the value is the same. Let's start one day at a time. Look at all the monies we've lost. And then you remember when the Dufour matter came up, a lot of people were on Dr. Ayene's neck saying, no, he shouldn't accept. The 60%. Hey, anyway, can we have an update about how much the Dufours have paid? Because I think we're promised that there will be an update so that we see that the money has really been collected. Look at that plenty money. You know what it will do for our society? What do you benefit? You think the Dufours are free? They are not free because it's also a stigma. It's a blot on their record. It's a dent. It's forever, etc. So I think let's take it one day at a time. When we are done with the recoveries, maybe by the time we finish collecting, let's say recovering maybe state money in 100 cases, we can then review to see whether it is a deterrence enough or not. But right now we need the money. Look, let's give this last example. You see the Donald Trump this organization, President Trump, in the US, his organization, the Trump organization, they had to agree to go and do plea bargaining, etc. Trump, President of the US, his organization had to agree to do plea bargaining. And let's understand, one of our most popular cases on plea bargaining started in the 70s, the Ohinijan case. And my apologies to the family of Ohinijan, the sports administrator. His name is similar to Ohinijan, the lawyer, the Sunyani-based lawyer in the 70s, who was involved in the murder, but he had to plead to manslaughter. So that's one, when you go to law school, that's one of the cases they'll teach you from the 70s.
Yes.
Ohinijan, the lawyer, had to accept manslaughter because it was clear that he probably would have been convicted for what? Murder. So the point is that we've always had plea bargaining. From the 70s, then you go to our Courts Act, Section 73, allows for settlement of minor cases. Then Section 35, economic crimes against the state. This my good friend, mentor, Samson Ladiayen, has written a beautiful article. It's online. You can Google it. Samson Ladiayen's article on plea bargaining. You see how he explains it. So when you check globally, plea bargaining is used everywhere. For me, knowing the weakness of the Ghanaian system, half a loaf is always better than none. Let's not forget the cases Dr. Ayene had to enter noli prosequi, withdraw, etc. As for the Atuforsen and Japa case, we know that Godfrey Dami was caught in unethical practices, so that's an exception, Opuni case exception. But I'm interested in the Collins Dauda matter. That one, Dr. Ayene promised us that the committee will be set up to investigate so that we will see whether we are due some money. So that one to remind him, we are waiting to see has the committee been set up, what is the investigations, so that we will see whether the Sagleme project, we got value for money, or Collins Dauda and co have to refund some money. It's very important. We must get closure on it. So you see, I'm very interested in any money. Once I hear there will be an investigation, then there is a chance that money will come up. You see, I'm reminding citizens and Dr. Ayine that we are waiting
exactly.
for. Exactly.
Now, the point that you made is why I bring in Professor Jampo about, the effect of refund. And I'm sure you heard this, that those who hold the view that if you have somebody who has diverted state funds and the only punishment is just to refund and go scot-free, refund with interest, how deterring will that be in the fight against corruption?
First of all, nobody is privy to the content or the nature of the plea bargaining arrangements. And so we cannot sit here and say that it's going to be about refund and go scot-free. In 2008, when I was studying in the United States, I believe, I recall, I undertook a course called Judicial Politics, where we, as part of that course, studied plea bargaining. And the lawyers here may tell me if I'm wrong. When I knew we were going to discuss this, I had to go and exhume. I still keep my lecture notes. So a plea bargaining is an agreement in the criminal justice system where a defendant agrees to plead guilty or no contest in exchange for concessions from the prosecution, such as reduced charges or a lighter recommended sentence. It resolves the case without going to trial. Now, when I read this, I was asking myself, but if this definition is true, should it be anything that should bother us as a people? Should it worry us? I say this because having heard so many people having heard a hint at plea bargaining, you could see that they were upset. There are some people who say that, well, it's good. But there are others who just on a mere hint about this are getting very much upset. But my view is that we do not, to the extent that we do not know the content of the negotiation or what the negotiation is going to end at, we cannot be that upset, because it could be that refund the money but still serve a certain sentence, of jail term. It can be.
That could be a possible outcome.
It can be a possible outcome. So we are not too sure unless we allow them to go negotiate and come out with an outcome that we can properly interrogate. But you can also understand where those who are incensed, those who are upset about the mere hinting of plea bargaining, you can understand where they are coming from. You recall that there used to be a law on causing financial, there's a law on causing financial loss to the state. And as a researcher, I researched it and I researched the intention or the reason why it was introduced. Mm-hmm. If you ask those who mooted that idea, they will tell you that yes, some people will deliberately go out of their way to act in a manner that causes financial loss to the state. But the law itself, if you really want to implement it, then it is going to, at a point in time, stifle initiative. Because everybody is going to be cautious that, look, I don't want to do anything over-cautious. And so I have interrogated or interviewed those who mooted that law. And they told me that that law itself was never meant to be used. It was... it was never meant to be used, but it was supposed to be there ominously guarding the conduct of duty bearers to be sure that you see that law is there and it guides you to do what is right. Unfortunately, power changed hands and Mr. Kufuor used it against the former appointees, the law on causing financial loss to the state. So quite a number of former appointees were jailed. Now, President Kufuor left office, President Mills came, and people who were very much upset felt that the same standard should be extended. The same punishment or jail sentences should be handed over to former MPP appointees. And you call. If you don't know, I'm telling you, I researched that too. President Mills then said no. In fact, one of the reasons why President Mills had problems with Jerry Rawlings was his posture about prosecuting former appointees of the previous regime. He said, no, let us build a nation. Let us not do that. Let us not do vengeance. And I want to be a father for the nation. And so I'm not going to do that. So post-President Mills,
a lot of people were bragging. If we were corrupt, why didn't you jail us? If we were corrupt, why didn't you jail? President Mills did that. President Mahama came to continue and followed that same tangent. Then MPP came to power again. And then we saw so many things happening.
Alfred.
Now,
Alfred.
having all these
He's
things.
a researcher.
Oh, so many things
A
happen.
researcher means
In a
what?
point, in a manner that makes
What is research? What is that?
No, in a manner that made people.
What is research about that?
In a manner that made people.
Alfred.
Please continue with your research.
In a manner that made
Alfred.
people feel. See, so many things have happened in a manner that made people feel that, look, something would have to be done, otherwise the survival of our democracy cannot be guaranteed. And I'm sure this fed into the whole idea of Operation Recover or Loot and the need to deal with people who may have done things untoward to the resources of the nation and who may have found themselves, in corrupt deals. Now, so my view is that you can then begin to appreciate the sentiments that are being expressed just at the mere hinting of plea bargaining. But my advice is that you see sometimes our brutish nature, okay, sometimes our naturally brutish nature would prevent us from looking at some of these things dispassionately. My view is that, and as has been said, if the idea of if there is a policy called Operation Recover or Loot, then I would appeal to Ghanaians that, yes, you may be angry. Yes, and let us not forget that the man in question at the center of affairs has other issues that that are being handled, at the courts. This particular matter is just one of about 3 or 4 issues that are also being handled, about him at the court. And so if today the lawyer says that he's entering into plea bargain negotiation just so that if some monies will have to be refunded, they'll be refunded, and just so that they can also go into other discussions as to what should happen, then we should be more interested in what should happen in the negotiation. But I'm saying that a mere talk about plea bargaining, that's not necessarily, it's not only about refund and go. Okay. It could also mean refund and still serve a certain minimal jail sentence. And so I want us to look at it from that angle, so that those people who are genuinely and legitimately upset that, look, things would have to happen in a manner that will ensure that tomorrow, if duty bearers are given a position to serve, they will be cautious. I mean, I agree with them. Okay. And we'll have to respect that. And these are the guys, the Ghanaians who are always saying that oral is delaying, oral is then putting a lot of pressure. And so when they are putting a lot of pressure, and there are cases before courts that are being heard, and they are still putting a lot of pressure, and they hear that there is a hint at plea bargaining, then naturally they become a bit offended. But I'm saying that we should be creatures of logic, not always creatures of emotions. Let's look at what we can gain, what we can benefit, especially as we prosecute Operation Recover or Loot. Let us see what we can gain from this negotiation. And if the negotiation ends in just, refund and go, and we don't like it, then we can interrogate it. But I'm thinking that as we make our views clear about some of these things, Ghanaians are also listening.
And you reference of interest. The other one, the appeal could be, within the week, you filed a motion to withdraw your services as a lawyer for Chairman Wontumi.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now, the state says, no, hold on. The state says that it is objecting to your motion on notice for withdrawal of your legal services.
Well, they have a right to object. I have not been served with an affidavit of opposition. I'm served with same. And the matter is coming on Monday. But as I speak now, I haven't been served with any such application.
But Alfred, I wasn't done with I was not done. You just cut me in this. Yes. I was
because, Prof, I've checked the time. You spoke.
So,
but I'm not done.
Yes.
My good friend Kofi just said can they do that. But since the abolition of the slave trade, I'm not sure anybody could be forced into labor.
Absolutely.
So I have been engaged by somebody, and I said that I cannot continue in this engagement.
No,
and I have felt,
senior. You see,
not
you.
the
way is intervening.
I checked the time.
Okay, so all of you don't intervene. All of you don't intervene. Let me go on. So now I have filed this application for leave to withdraw my legal services to my client, and it's coming on Monday. So I think that my reasons for this decision is embedded in the affidavit in support. You have just told me that the state has filed affidavit in opposition.
You haven't seen?
I have not been served, or I have not seen. And if I do, I see it and I go to the court, I will address it. I will respond to the issues they are raising therein. But I think that I have a right at any point in time to withdraw services that I offer to anybody. Sometimes even at cost, if I'm in contract and I cannot continue the contract, and that brings in reparation or restitution, the decision to withdraw, I think I can enjoy that, and this is what I have done, and I have stated my reasons in the middle of the season.
They give the grounds for the objection. They talk about jurisdiction and the capacity and the standard.
Yes,
essentially, these are the two.
I haven't seen, but for educational purposes, you are telling me that they are going to argue an objection relying on jurisdiction of the court. What does it mean? Does the court not have jurisdiction to determine a motion I have filed in the case that I'm prosecuting? Is that what they are saying? Well, then this is not directed
speculative
at me.
Anyway.
This is not directed at me. It's probably directed at the court. Yeah. So the court will determine whether or not they have jurisdiction.
But there are fundamental issues.
But again, a local standard, capacity and local standard. Indeed, capacity means the shape and form that you present yourself in the case, or your interest in the subject matter. That is local standard. But all of them come into one to make capacity an issue.
But Senior, I want to ask a question, just for education.
Let him finish.
So capacity as a lawyer, I have also filed as appointed lawyer in the case. And when you are a lawyer in the case, there are requirements. Your license, your so and so, you state all that in the whatever application you bring. Is it the case that I don't have a license? Is it the case that my license has expired, that somebody is challenging? Is it the case that I am not a lawyer at all, that somebody is challenging? And then let's go to local standard. Local standard is, do I have any interest in the matter? Do I not have interest in the matter? Does that matter concern me? It doesn't concern me. That is local standard. And I'm saying that having been appointed a lawyer in the case, how could I sit somewhere and say that the matter doesn't concern me?
Okay, thank you.
Advocacy on behalf of
no, gentlemen.
So
I just needed
that is my.
I needed him to speak.
That is my answers to those.
I need to deal with this last issue before we go. No,
and these are questions
but I think that for fairness' sake, because he's the lawyer on record, and you have respectfully given him that opportunity to just raise some of these fundamental. I think it's important.
So, my brother going to say that
I've been asking to respond to Jampo for a long time.
Just by way of public
the opportunity.
Just by way of public.
But you why?
You see,
what exactly are you responding to?
No, I'm just responding to something.
He's giving the opportunity to Edwin again. He just finished speaking. On this matter, I spoke like 2 minutes because you have the lawyer here, so I didn't want to.
I'll come to you.
No, but you have gone back to this again.
This platform is for informing education. This platform.
So what's the issue exactly?
The issue I want to just draw to your attention is that the work of us as lawyers is governed by LI 2423. That the legal profession, into bracket, professional conduct and etiquette rules.
My brother, that
2020. No, the new one. This is the 2021. I'm talking about. Please, I'm talking about.
A lawyer wants to exit and it's become a national competition.
Why
do we waste our time on this?
Hold on.
It's personal decision
you
to not
see,
to
I want
represent
I
somebody.
want to just represent.
That's a national business.
Public education. Why are you jittery?
No. A lawyer says, I don't want to represent my
regulation. I just want to draw your attention.
We want to make it a national
I just want to draw your attention to.
Kofi Benson.
I just want
He's been disruptive.
Regulation 85.
Am I crazy here or what?
Conditions.
We are looking at a country where people don't have
He's
jobs.
being disruptive.
The point is making is extremely proper.
Yes.
Can you?
Conditions for withdrawal of representation. I am just saying that let nobody make the law here that withdrawal of representation is automatic. It has never been. In fact, so the rules, Regulation 85(1)
In the middle of the sea.
provides conditions for withdrawal. So when a lawyer purports to say that I want to withdraw
it's
my
a crime.
representation,
It's a crime for somebody to
There are
represent
rules.
somebody.
In the middle of the sea.
and that is why if you require recently in the Supreme the Supreme Court at the Supreme Court, if
I mean,
you
why are
recall,
we interested in this?
Richard,
There are other matters. No, you cut short the Sentinel matter, which is material
you
to the state. And you are discussing private decision.
If you recall,
Let me tell our viewers
I
this.
think Godfrey Debu Adami in the Get to Talk on matter.
He wrote a letter.
What is the consequence of this? What is the consequence
for the sense of
You are not being
representation for
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What is the consequence of his action not to represent
message?
What is the consequence?
There's a message which I wanted Professor Jampo to respond because
I think the Supreme Court didn't allow a withdrawal.
Yes, so now in this case, what is the consequence?
Why
not the value of this to the state that we are seated here? What is it?
Your colleague Professor Emmanuel Beko is asking on. It says, I want to find out if. Hold on. It says, I want to find quickly. I want to find out why Professor Jampo went on to take this award that has become a matter of controversy.
So you still don't want to give me
It's the
time.
third issue I wanted to deal with. So you quickly and now.
And you see why when I interrupt and I insist I must address. Prof. Jampo raised a matter which is completely not the fact. You allow him to go.
No,
he's creating the impression that President Atta Mills came and gave a certain regime. No, because that is why. But you told me
that would go further.
That is a fallacy. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy.
Okay,
You understand? Because you no, please. When you do this next time, I will not let him carry on. Because now you don't want me to make the point. It is wrong what he said, and it's not factual. Trying to say that the NDC and our males didn't prosecute anybody because what? So it means that they watch the law breached. It means that they condone corruption. Is that what you are saying? Is that what you are alleging? So it means that you condone corruption.
Hold on. Now,
you condone corruption.
Are you in pain?
No, because that is wrong.
You have made.
It is wrong.
You
It's
have
not
now
true.
rebutted and made your point.
It is not true.
Thank you.
So,
how did you end up on that stage? I mean, how did your representatives end up on that stage?
Well, Alfred, please. The president has given a directive.
Abanapo has received that award.
No, let me.
Hold on.
That's my understanding. That is a credible platform.
Let's.
So you need to allow him to speak.
Let me.
That's a
The
credible
president has given a
platform.
directive on this. But you see, it is true that our performance is supposed to be judged by our appointing authority and then also by the good people
Of Ghana.
Ghana.
Including the institutions.
Okay. And so if an institution an institution gets up and says that, look, we want to honor you for doing X, Y, Z, ideally, you wouldn't look at them and then just say, we snubbed you. Okay. I was not in the country. And I was told that our institution was nominated for an award. But it must be placed on record that some of these award agencies, when they are coming to you, they write 2 letters. One, we've nominated you for this. And then they will ask you, if you want your company's profile to be written in our brochure, if you want us to give you a space to advertise your wares or what you do, if you want to receive special mentions at the event, pay this amount of money. And
So we get those things. But in this particular instance that we are talking about, well, speaking because you directed it at me, we didn't go and pay anything. Our people went in there and then they said they are being nominated for an award, and then there was no payment at all. And I want to make this point also that the insinuation that some people went to pay money for it. I mean, I didn't do it, we didn't do it, but I also look at the people in the personas of Finance Minister Ato Forson. It is so condescending and unfair for anybody to insinuate that, oh, then he also went to pay money for that. I know his work and what he stands for, I think, is known to many Ghanaians, and so I'm not sure he wouldn't do that. But all in all, I think we all can take solace in the fact that there's been a presidential directive. As you rightly said, these schemes have always been there. And anytime they came, you didn't have anybody.
So these are the criteria that the presidency is using.
Now there's a directive that says that.
So apparently it was an application to discontinue suit in terms of the Asifua one.
Okay.
But just to let you know, to the extent that Dr. Callistus Mahama has written, it brings conclusion to the matter.
And so for
what the president says is final.
For us, we would go by what the president has said.
Yeah, that's all.
And since what you are doing here, defending finance minister and all of that,
the
Ghanaian people's verdict says that you have not performed. That's what it is.
Because you say you